And we're live! Welcome to the latest edition of Botha Rants, the show where we go through all the latest news and all the latest political and LGBTQ news of interest, or at least interest to me at a canter. My name is Sophia Botha, and I am joined by OZMA.
Hello.
Yes, two top-heavy, busty Jews. Wouldn't Kevin Logan would be in absolute paradise. Yes, came out of a conversation he was having with Christy Winters about top-heavy Jews the other night. Nothing anti-Semitic about it. Nothing at all. It was just a joke. Okay. Anyways. Of course, OZMA'S more top-heavy than me, thanks to.
Hey, just because I got
just because George Soros shows you more favour than he shows me.
Yeah, well, fuck, I don't actually have I don't have a continuation on that.
Anyways. A couple of parish notices before we begin. Sorry there was no show on Friday, even though I said there was going to be. That was because there were certain things going on Friday, and I wasn't feeling particularly well. Also, I said I was going to cover the Israeli elections with OZMA tonight, last week. Well, yet again, news of the day overtakes us, and well. I will talk about the Israeli elections possibly tomorrow when the results start coming in, and definitely Wednesday when we'll know the results. But I have seen the latest opinion polls, and they do not look good for the left in Israel. Really, they do not look good at all. My betting is that Netanyahu will be back in, and the guy is a corrupt fucker. Just to give you an example, right? There has been a corruption trial, which he attended for 20 minutes, and then just walked out. Literally, just got up and left. One of the reasons it is reckoned that he called this election, other than his coalition government basically collapsed because no one can work with the cunt, is he wants to replace the Attorney General, who was the one who actually brought charges against him. I mean, how crazy things are. He's due back in court on, I think it's the 5th of April. But, you know, if the Kurds and, you know, can cobble together a majority with some of the more right-wing religious parties, which wouldn't be good for LGBTQ people, by the way, in Israel.
Yeah.
He might try and pass a law giving him immunity from prosecution. This is how corrupt Benjamin Netanyahu is. Okay, the guy is
wait, his name is Benny too.
Yeah, I know. Anyways,
I did not know that.
Anyways, right. So, but we've got a lot of other stuff to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, that's for a bit later. But we'll start with this. So I saw this. So this trans woman is accused of stealing, and is basically subjected to a whole load of transphobic abuse.
And you're a big out of shape, and you're not a woman. You're not a woman. Okay, and you're a pig. It don't matter. Look at what is that? What is that, bitch? Go feed the pig. Go feed the piglet. You big nasty bitch. You still. Fuck that hoe. Fuck that hoe. I'm not him.
Can I just say that this isn't untypical of what trans women face in the United States? You know, I've seen that. I've seen it. Well, you live.
I was just gonna say it varies depending on the state. The level of abuse of risk, because various states have different levels of things. Like I want to say like Alabama or something, people can still get called like the T slur by like medical professionals and shit. You know, people who shouldn't be saying that at all, and there's just a lot more in general abuse because it's more accepted.
Anyways, well, I was gonna say, that reminds me of the Bill Hicks quip about people in Alabama aren't shouting revolution, revolution, they're shouting evolution, evolution.
Well, yeah, some people were upset about the fact that they lost the case in the late 1800s, early 1900s. They were trying to make a case with regards to teaching evolution in schools.
Yeah, in other words, he was saying, yeah, some places in the South are you know, they haven't travelled far from the primeval's slop, which we came from. Anyways, let's carry on.
Call your man, bitch. That's what you want to do. Call your man. Yeah, that's what you would want to do. Your mama, your grandma, your sister, your brother, your uncle, your cousin, your nephew, your firstborn, bitch. Yeah. I don't give a damn, bitch. I'm not. You're stealing, I'm not. You got a whole pussy. Bitch, you're tired. You're tired. You're stealing, I'm not, and you got a whole pussy. You're tired. You're tired. You're the last of the motherfucker. Hey. Hey. Keep going. Take that. Make this straight. Make this straight. Make this straight.
Can I just point out a technical thing, right? It's actually quite hard to steal with a self-service counter. Seriously, it is. There are ways of doing it, but actually it's not. But anyways, this is the typical fucking... this is not untypical for people in the United States. Okay? For trans people, sorry, in the United States. And you need to bear this in mind with our next story. We need to give you an update about our friend Aria. Now, both me and Ozma know Aria. This is the first interview I did with Aria.
you better than me. My life stuff tends to end up a mess, and I'm bad at organizing schedules because I try to but fail to.
Yeah, well, anyways, we both participated in a marathon stream with Aria about, when was it, last May, wasn't it? Put like this, it had just got dark here when we started, and by the time we finished, it was light outside. This wasn't Aria's fault. It was another person who was participating in this stream asking the same fucking question for half a fucking hour.
Yeah, no. Fuck that person. I know that person. That person helped me get into YouTube and focus on that, but that person's also a fucking cunt. So like,
well, I would add there is that certain trans person from Arizona is a patronizing cunt. She is. She seriously is.
Yeah.
Patronizing. She seems to think that she knows better than anyone else.
And you know, including when it comes to World of Warcraft Classic. Sorry to get into video games, but my friend was a former professional World of Warcraft player back early Warcraft, and this person was arguing with my friend about how best to do something in World of Warcraft Classic, which is the closest thing to what my friend knows better than any person I know.
Anyways,
Yeah,
this has got nothing to do with Aria, but anyways, Aria is a friend of mine, and I just love her swagger. She's a colourful free spirit, and also she's obviously she's trans like me and Ozma. Well, not like she's trans. When I say trans like me and Ozma, every trans person is different, but the thing is, when trans women get together, we understand one another, the sort of trauma and pain we go through. To be ourselves.
And there's some crossover with other marginalized groups, but I agree with that. But also Aria was inspirational to me.
Yeah, she's a forceful personality, and that's not a bad thing. Can I just say that? And she could be a great advocate for trans people. Actually, when we were going to talk about the fact she was arrested last week, and she's been indicted on federal charges of wire fraud and money laundering, which we'll get into. And to be honest, some of this is bullshit. I'm just going to say that. But because she's. But I was contacted by 2 trans women in her area who both said she helped her. Aria, went out of her way to help them transition. So because that is something Aria would do, because she is a good person who cares and has made real effort for advocacy that
shouldn't be ignored.
She doesn't do it loudly, and I will say that she's not one of those she's not one of those do-gooders who want you to squint and see the halo above their head. She just gets on with it. All right. Now her politics are libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, so she doesn't like the government particularly. Okay.
And yeah, we have disagreements with her about that, but her ideas about the police are fucking spot on.
Well, yeah, she's right about the police, as we're learning over here now. We've kind of had our equivalent to the George Floyd moment. Not as a serious circumstance, but I think people are now questioning, the role of the police in this country now, which is a good thing. Anyway, so last Tuesday, Aria and 5 other people in Keene, New Hampshire, were basically, they had their houses raided. Literally, SWAT was sent in. Fuck knows why SWAT was sent in. Supposedly, they found a whole heap of guns at one of these people's houses. Hey, it's New Hampshire. People own, this is an open carry state. But none of these people have a history of violence. Okay? So why the fuck was that needed? Right? I have to ask myself. Basically, the reason why these 6, they're called the Crypto 6 now, but that's the sort of label people have given them, have been arrested is because they were trading Bitcoin, essentially. This is, for those who don't know what Bitcoin is, it's a cryptocurrency, or otherwise known as a digital currency. And it's big amongst libertarians, okay, I will say that. I never really got into it.
I dabbled for a brief period of time in the not like super long after it started, but just to try to get money from mining Bitcoin.
The whole point of Bitcoin is it's meant to be a bit like, now I know something about economics, so let me try and explain this. Essentially, when you have a limited commodity, it's meant to hold its value. So this is why, for instance, you've heard libertarians in the past go on about the gold standard. In it, essentially, that is meant to so therefore a currency wouldn't be as devalued as it is. Because to explain to people, right, I know people seem to think that money comes from like the central treasury or government treasury, printing money. No, it doesn't. Not the majority. The majority of money now created is created by bank loans and credit cards. Right? Basically, it's digits on a fucking computer. Okay. 3% of all currency in circulation is issued by central treasuries now. Okay. That's quite a, and basically the consequence of that is that basically currencies, the pound or the dollar in your pocket is being essentially devalued by the amount of private banks issuing more and more loans and credit cards. So the more digits there are, the less the pound, the money in your pocket is worth. Right. So the whole point about Bitcoin is there's only meant to be a certain amount in circulation ever, right? Therefore, it's meant to hold its value. However, this doesn't strictly hold true because Bitcoin, the value of Bitcoin has fluctuated quite wildly. It's up at the moment, but it has been, down before. And for instance, say. Which we'll get onto. Say somebody has stored a whole load of Bitcoin, and then decides to sell that all at once. That would devalue devalue Bitcoin. Essentially, currencies, the value of a currency is on the basis of how much faith people put in that currency. That's essentially what it is. This is something you learn. I mean, I was a libertarian.
And you would learn if you read some fucking Adam Smith. Not you specifically, so you understand shit. But
well, I mean, the lie about the gold standard, and I remember talking to this with a libertarian once, which I pointed out that the Spanish, when they conquered South America, and they were digging a whole load of gold out of mines in Bolivia, going, oh, we're rich. And what they didn't realize is the more gold they sort of dug out of the fucking mines, the less the fucking gold was worth. So, to say that, commodity-backed currencies, hold their value is not strictly true. But anyways, look, I'm not into Bitcoin, but people, should... if they want to dabble in digital currencies, whether it's I guess the other ones are Dash and Lite, and I think there's one other to Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin's the biggest, right? And I should point out that the other reason Bitcoin has fluctuated wildly in its value is to do with Bitcoin at the moment is not a widely, I mean, sure, more and more places are accepting it, but it's not a widely used currency. Therefore, it's a bit like okay, so let's say the dollar.
It's a bit like stock markets.
Well, no, it's basically a comparison I can make. It's like the dollar is like an oil tanker on the sea, right? It's not going to rock as violently in a storm because it's far larger than, say, a tugboat, which is going to, rock and possibly capsize in rough seas. You basically, the tugboat is Bitcoin, and the oil tanker is the dollar. Now, the reason libertarians like Bitcoin is because the government doesn't control its circulation. Okay. Now, the US government do not consider, as far as I know, Bitcoin to be a legal tender. So why the fuck they would get their panties in a bind about people trading Bitcoin, I don't know. Anyways, so as I said, the homes were raided. Now, this is a news report from last week explaining stuff, and I have to say, this is one of the few news reports. There's one other I'm going to go through in a minute, but which didn't dead name Aria. Okay, despite the fact that the US, despite the fact that Biden's made a big play about trans equality and all that, the DOJ press release, right, about this case dead named Aria. Okay, Aria is trans. And that's a reminder, and as I said, bear in mind the first clip we showed you about the treatment of trans people in America. If there's one, the criminal justice system in the United States does not treat trans people well. Okay, it really doesn't. We don't, in this country we don't treat our trans prisoners well, but in the United States it's far, far fucking worse. And you're also picking a lottery with what state you live in. Now, these are federal charges, so I don't know how that works out. But I really feel for Aria because, they're not just going to judge her on whether she's guilty on these charges. They're going to judge her on the fact she's trans as well. Yeah. Anyways, this is the news report, so let's have a listen. Oh, hold on. Let's see if I have put the sound on.
By the FBI and several other law enforcement agencies. Investigators also swarmed the Bitcoin embassy on Route 101 in Keene. The U.S. Attorney's Office says 6 people were indicted by a federal grand jury in New Hampshire and charged with participating in a conspiracy to operate an unlicensed money-transmitting business. They have been identified as Ian Freeman of Keene, Colleen Fordham of Alstead, Renee Spinella of Derry, Andrew Spinella also of Derry, Aria DiMezzo of Keene, and a person named Nobody, formerly Richard Paul, who is also of Keene. According to an indictment, the alleged suspects have run a business since 2016 that allowed customers to exchange flat currency for virtual currency and charged a fee for the service. More than $10 million in exchanges were made. Authorities allege that the individuals knowingly operated the business in violation of federal anti-money laundering laws and regulations. Now, Freeman, Fordham, Renee Spinella, Andrew Spinella, and Paul were also charged with...
But I should point out that's Ian Freeman's house. So.
Yeah, I don't understand how, like, buying stuff generally doesn't, that alone isn't, anyone can buy stuff. So does that mean the local grocery store is like money laundering?
Right. Now, so this is a report I saw last Friday. Now, I should explain something here. Ian Freeman is, I guess people consider him sort of the leader of, there's this group called Free Keene, okay, which are a bunch of libertarians in Keene, New Hampshire. Now, they've had an association with a thing called the Free State Project, which the objective is to get 20,000 libertarians to move to New Hampshire because it's, a guy called Jason Sorens published some sort of dissertation a few years ago where he said that if you get because libertarians have often failed at electoral politics, but it was thought that if you go to a state which has a relatively small population and get about 20,000 libertarians to move to that state, then it could actually have an impact.
Well, also, yeah, it seems like they're trying to spread some of the anarchist values of trying to set up, trying to affect, like you said, make difference, affect real change.
Now, they even tried the Free State Project tried to sign me up. Now, Ian Freeman has well, let's just say that the Free State Project have kind of disowned him. We'll get into the why since then. But let's have a read of this article, which it was, as I said, last Friday. Freeman is still in prison, as far as I know now. He's been refused bail. So, whereas Aria, at least, she has been bailed. However, she won't be able to watch this stream. There's some pretty stringent restrictions on her, what she can do, which is, I remember joking with her earlier about, well, are you allowed to watch cat videos on YouTube? Because she said she was only allowed to watch gaming videos. Anyways, so the leader of the Libertarian Free Keene Collective remains jailed as federal judge Andrea Johnson decides whether to grant Ian Freeman bail. Ian Freeman, 40, was arrested this week along with 5 other Free Keene members in an FBI raid on his properties over allegations of money laundering. Law enforcement found $180,000 in cash, 26 guns, and thousands of rounds of ammunition. Now, okay, some people would say, well, that's the reason SWAT was sent in. However, in his house, he rents parts of it out to other tenants, and so I heard that those guns actually belong to someone else. To be honest, Ian never, having known a bit about Ian, he never seemed to be the gun polishing, gun sexual type Alex Jones wanker. Anyways, Freeman is charged with operating a multi-million-dollar Bitcoin exchange business that facilitated laundering money from scammers across the country. He even allegedly used the churches he started to launder funds as donations, according to court records. In a January interview with NH Reporter, Freeman said openly that he used Bitcoin exchange business to fund his church, I can never pronounce that. Magnock.
The
Shire.
Monadnock?
Magnock, yeah. Shire Free Church. Assistant United States Attorney Georgina MacDonald said Friday that Freeman ought to be held without bail. In addition to the $180,000 in cash, he had at least 2.4 million in Bitcoin that he I think that's meant to say that he can access anywhere in the world. This is the bit which made me roar with laughter. Ian Freeman is a sophisticated criminal, MacDonald said. Look, I don't know Ian that I know his business. The guy he started Free Talk Live with, which is the radio show he co-hosts. I know Mark Edge a lot more than I know Ian. My impression of Ian has always been he's a bit of an arsehole, okay? But essentially he's a hippie. Just try and make him out to be Mr. Big is just hilarious. It really is. Okay? Yes, he can be very manipulative in conversations and whatever else. But he's a radio talk show host. That's his fucking job. Okay? He's not Mr. Big. Okay? He's not the fucking Don. Alright? Just not.
Sorry, my brain went when he said Mr. Big. My brain went to fucking Sex and the City somehow. But yeah, he's definitely not like a criminal mastermind.
No, MacDonald said that Freeman used his Shire Free Church, Church of the Invisible Hand, Reformed Satanic Temple, and the New Hampshire Peace Church to launder his payments. Well, okay, I know about the Satanic Reformed Satanic Temple because, well, Aria's the one who runs that, and as I said at the beginning of this, we had a marathon stream with Aria, and she did. It wasn't like this was some sham church for her. She really does believe in modern Satanism. Okay, and so. To say that this is just a fiddle to not pay tax, I'm not sure if that's the case with Aria actually. And anyways, the U.S. government are the ones I kind of would say, well, look, if you are going to say that all churches can have charitable status, then people are going to try and use that, okay, not to pay tax. Because for those outside the US, basically religious organisations in the United States can get tax exemption. Because and now personally, I don't think that religious organisations should be tax exempt. This is my opinion.
Well, I mean it does a couple things. It oftentimes plays favorites with certain religious organizations, and there's also a lot of Christian organizations are the biggest scammers with regards to this.
Yeah.
Regards to exploiting it, because they'll be like, "Oh, you need to tithe to, help out all these people," and then like somehow the pastor gets like a fucking mansion. Wonder how that happened.
Okay. Let me get on the. Sorry. McDonald. We've been through that. Freeman charged fees of 5 and 15% on Bitcoin transactions, much higher than the normal 2 to 3% according to McDonald. Well, I don't know if the sale of Bitcoin is actually regulated by the US government. I actually don't know that. So,
well, I mean, I think with every business, oh yeah, I don't know how many things are.
Well, no, the point I'm trying to make is, as long as Freeman was like upfront about, how much commission he was going to take for it,
Yeah.
then fine, because people could, there are other, Bitcoin exchanges where you can trade fiat money for Bitcoin. So I don't know. Anyways, it said here, some scam victims were even directed to purchase Bitcoin from Freeman and were told to pay donations to his churches, according to McDonald. He might have asked for them to donate to the churches, but I don't think Ian would have ordered anybody to do. He's just not the type of person to do that. I'm sorry, he's just not. When Keene Police, FBI agents, and agents of the United States Treasury Department, or otherwise known as the Secret Service, descended on his properties, Freeman was found with $180,000 in a cash in a safe, 26 firearms, and thousands of rounds of ammunition. In the residential. Doesn't make fucking sense. Okay, he has a residential.
Okay, thousands of rounds of ammunition in the residential duplex. Yeah, no.
Which is also home to the Shire Free Church.
So wait. So they found Freeman with cash in the safe, and in another house they found a bunch of firearms and ammunition.
Yeah, and they're saying that's
and they're saying that that's his because he does stuff with regards to the Shire Free Church. But that's generally if I were to own 26 firearms and thousands of rounds of ammunition, I don't think the person who manages my apartment building would get charged, and that would be used as evidence against them. That's not how that's supposed to work.
Freeman's attorney, Mark Siskey, said his client should be released as he has no criminal records of serious convictions. Well, he's got some misdemeanors. I know that he has been to jail.
Yeah, well, I mean that wouldn't be serious convictions. Misdemeanors are like slap on the wrist.
But the one thing is right. He has no history of violence. I've never known Ian to be violent, so Freeman, formerly Ian Bernard, 40 of Keene, Colleen Forden, age 60 of Ousted, Rennie Spinella, 23 of Derry, Andrew Spinella, I guess related somehow, probably her husband, 35 of Derry, Nobody, formerly Rich Paul, 52 of Keene. He's also been refused bail, funny enough, Rich Paul as well. And Aria DiMezzo, 34 of Keene, were all taken into custody Tuesday following the raids. By the way, as well as dead naming, I'd have revealed her age. And I remember saying I guessed her age. I actually got that right. Because you remember when she was on with us, she refused to tell us her age. And I guessed it. I did say to Christy, I said 34. I was right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm 35, so
yeah.
That makes sense that we're close to the same age.
Friedman, Fordham, Rennie Spinella, Andrew Spinella, and Nobody also were charged with wire fraud and participating in a conspiracy to commit wire. Hold on. Were charged with wire fraud are participating in a conspiracy to commit wire fraud.
Yeah.
Why don't you just charge them with wire fraud? What? I don't know.
Well, so the conspiracy to commit is to
Is this the
add
Fed?
to the charges. So they
Well,
they put as many charges as they can, and so even if they can't succeed in charging them with wire fraud, they will try to succeed in charging
that's what I was about to
them
say.
with conspiracy to commit fraud charges. That's common amongst legal shit.
It sounds to me that it sounds to me that the Feds are covering their asses. You know what? If we can't get them on one thing, we'll get them on this.
I mean, like I said, it's so common with the legal system here. That's just like, yeah, no, that's pretty standard for any legal team to do. And I'm sure they've got government lawyers. I know they've got government lawyers, but that's probably why they charge them that way.
Freeman is also charged with money laundering and operating and continuing financial crimes enterprise. Freeman and DiMezzo are also charged with operating an unlicensed money transmitting business. There's also talk about Freeman possibly facing a RICO charge. Now, that carries a minimum. This is the minimum if he's found guilty of 10 years. So yeah.
That wire fraud is like, that's bullshit.
No, there's a RICO charge as well. I don't know the details of that. They reckon that the Feds might bring that against him, that carries a minimum of 10 years. That's the minimum sentence. Okay. I mean, we are talking about some pretty, even without that, we are talking about some pretty heavyweight charges here. Money laundering and wire fraud. These people, if they're found guilty, are going to prison for years. Okay, now, I'm just going to say that. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depends how you look at it, over 90% of federal prosecutions brought are successful. Are successful, right?
Although that's not
so we are looking
a guarantee that they will be successful, but
that which means that Aria could very well be going to prison, okay? And she's a trans woman. She will not be put in a female prison, okay? She'll be put in a male prison, most likely.
I'm not sure. That might depend on the state. I don't know if New Hampshire's law.
Well, no, this is federal, so I don't know what the federal stipulations are, but you probably found out there's something which Donald Trump brought in and that Joe Biden rolled back. Yeah,
Biden's been hardcore.
Okay. Well, you can
writing back.
You can find that out while I read the rest of that. But what I'm saying is, if she's put in a male prison, even if she's put in a female prison, it's putting her life at risk. But if she's put in a male prison, look, Aria can, she's pretty tough and she can look after herself. But even, I would be seriously worried for her personal safety. Freeman and DiMezzo both started churches. The indictments claim they used as part of the money laundering scheme. According to the indictments, since 2016, the defendants have operated a business that enabled customers to exchange over 10 million in fiat currency for virtual currency. Now, I know some people say, well, that's they're only going to get the commission from that 10 million. Okay, so they're not we're not talking like they've got millions and millions. Okay, 180,000 in a safe sounds like a lot of money, but I'm not saying I know they're not reaping in. I mean, for starters, I know I know that Aria has actually, you know, as well as selling Bitcoin, she actually has to and co-hosting a radio show. She actually has to do a real, you know, what people would call a blue collar job. She works in for a pizzeria, so you know, they're not like, you know, it sounds like it's they're reaping in millions. No, they're not. Anyways, they operated their virtual currency exchange business using websites, as well as operating a virtual currency ATM machines in New Hampshire. The NH reporter learned that the investigation into into Freeman and his churches in January through an FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act request. And during an interview with Freeman earlier this year, he revealed he did use his Bitcoins transaction business to fund activities of the Shire Free Church. Right, okay. Well, you know, if you're running a business, you're free to use the profits of that business however you want. Yeah. So what? The church is decentralized, interfaith church. It's open to anyone who is peaceful. Freeman said, "Free Keene is all about peaceful evolution." Freeman has known for years he was the subject of an investigation, he said, as agents have been interviewing friends and family. Freeman's... Yeah, now let me explain something. I knew there was something going on because last year, Aria, I actually spoke to her on the day it happened. She had a bank account frozen. So they knew something was going on. Freeman said that his group has long been a target of interest from the FBI, which he chalked up to being an activist. Yeah, it's possible. There are other theories. The FBI probably think I'm somewhat some kind of mastermind behind a scheme to defraud people, falsely selling them Bitcoin, Freeman said. Last year, Freeman said that his bank accounts were frozen. Yeah, as I said, you know, both, you know, I know that's happened to Aria as well. As part of...
I'm not sure how well it's enforced, but in terms of Federal Bureau of Prisons management of offenders with transgender needs, offenders who self-identify as transgender are individually assessed for psychosocial and medical needs. Areas of concern include appropriate housing, clothing, grooming, showering, and access to gender-appropriate general store items, as well as targets. Yeah, so I'm not sure. I know legally it might be moving towards that, but I don't know how well it is enforced at the moment, but it might. Yeah. So it's a big maybe. It's more confusing and much more murky than I thought.
I've got what I think is a pretty good procedures, he said. The interest in Free Keene goes back to at least the trial of Rich Paul. He called himself. He changed his name to Nobody to run for New Hampshire governor, actually, on charges of dealing marijuana and LSD in 2013. According to Freeman, Nobody claimed that he was offered a deal by the FBI during his arrest if he agreed to wear a wire and record his friends in the Free Keene movement for the purpose of learning all the dastardly things they were supposedly doing, Freeman said. Nobody, a pro-marijuana activist who ran for governor, declined the deal and served about a year in jail. Well, personally, I don't think that people dealing marijuana and LSD should be going to prison. That's just me. The war on drugs
I mean, that's not... I mean, the whole point of, you know, making it legal and regulating it means that obviously children shouldn't be sold uh, uh, random drugs of any sort, but that's not what happens most of the time. It's just people getting shit from friends.
It says here, actually, they got the date wrong. In 2000, it was actually 2016. Freeman's Leverett. Funny enough, that's similar to the name of the road I live in. Street home was raided by the FBI as part of an investigation into child sex abuse images. No charges were ever brought. Now I'm going to just share this. Now this is an interview I did with Aria when she was running for sheriff, and this topic came up. This is what Aria said about the accusations that Ian Freeman had been looking at child porn. Just listen to what she has to say.
So that point aside, but okay, so all of this happened because of, we believe it's because we broke the story about how the FBI was running a child porn distribution ring. And Ian, of course, had made the point in the past that a person who is under the age of consent is not necessarily incapable of making the informed decision to have sex. And it's a statement with which I agree entirely. He was 12 years old when he was engaging in sexual activity with an 18-year-old neighbor. I was also 14 years old when I lost my virginity to an 18-year-old girlfriend. I was mature enough to consent to that. Is that going to be the case with most 12-year-olds and most 14-year-olds? No. But we can't pretend like these exceptions don't exist. Maturity is not a result of age. Maturity is a result of experience. Someone who has been through some shit in their lives is going to be able to make informed, rational decisions about themselves at the age of 14. Someone who's lived a happy, comfortable, luxurious life without, parents getting murdered and things like that, they're probably not going to be ready to make rational adult choices for themselves, even at the age of 18, right? And Ian was making this argument that he was not raped, he was not violated when he consented to this sexual act with a neighbor. And I will make the same argument. I was not raped, I was not violated when I consented to this sexual act with my 18-year-old girlfriend at the time. And that was what Ian said. And then we broke this story about how the Federal Bureau of Investigation was literally running a child porn distribution ring. In fact, in the year 2019, the FBI was the largest child porn distributor on the planet. So we ran this story. People started calling in, feds started calling in, accusing Ian based on his previous statements of being a pedophile. And he refused to just say, that's obviously stupid, I'm not a pedophile. He refused to just say it because he's Ian and he's one of the most stubborn people you're ever going to meet. He's not going to let anyone else tell him what to say. And that's all this was. So feds used that against him. They raided the studio, quote, looking for child pornography. They confiscated thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of equipment. And you know what? They never fucking charged him. They never.
Right. See? That's Aria's account of what happened. Also, I'd also like to.
It's fucking sus as fuck for like a raid like that. And
I'd also point out that this time around, guess what they did? They also, took all the equipment for his radio show and everything as well. They have Free Talk Live have managed to get back on air, sort of, but they have been struggling, and no wonder why. So, anyways, so he said, never got my devices back, never been charged. Exactly. I mean, it was ridiculous. I remember saying, and we'll talk about Mark Edge in a minute. As I said, the guy who started his radio show with. I remember saying at the time to Mark, I said, "Look, Ian's an arsehole, but he never came off as a paedophile. He offered an opinion. It wasn't popular, right? I'm not saying I don't agree with it, but." Ian is free to have that opinion if he wants to, right? Just because someone says something does not make, it just says that, people, the age of consent, is this is basically Ian was saying the age of consent is somewhat arbitrary. And, a lot of people do lose their virginity before the age of consent. I did, right? Aria did, that's what,
I obviously didn't, but that's another story. I mean, not being interested in sex in high school was a factor.
Yeah. The same year, Freeman's Free Keene group was kicked out of the Free State Project in an effort to get libertarians to move to New Hampshire and overtake the state's politics. At the issue was Freeman's comments on his radio program about lowering the age of consent. Well, that's not true. He didn't say he wanted to. He just made a fucking comment, and as I said, I don't necessarily agree with Freeman. You see, I've seen the consequences of I have seen for myself the consequences of child abuse, and it's not good. Okay, so I kind of think there does need to be an age of consent. The Free State Free State group acknowledged.
Well, I mean, I like the varied age of consent when it comes to, because obviously it's easier for adults to manipulate people younger than them.
Well, yeah. Have you ever heard of Jimmy Savile? He was a TV personality who was a notorious paedophile. I actually met him twice when I was a kid.
I was thinking about the Minnesota thing because that has the specific age difference restrictions.
Anyways, the Free State group acknowledged Freeman was instrumental in the early days in the project in its statement disassociating itself from him. As one might expect, of any group of 20,000 people, from time to time participants have engaged in controversial behaviour or espouse controversial opinions. When a media personality does this, they risk associating their sponsors and business partners with that behaviour and opinion. Ian Freeman has recently done so with statements regarding the age of consent, the statement read. The accusation from people like Ian is that basically the Free State Project has basically become Republican Party light. We're talking about people who describe themselves as libertarians because they don't want to smoke pot and watch porn. Not the real anarchist, like Aria and Ian. Free Keene members have long been local gadflies. Is that?
Gadflies.
Gadflies. Never heard that term before.
I forgot the definition of it.
With a protest this weekend at Magnock Food Co-op. Yeah, I saw that. I didn't agree with that one. Basically, there was a bunch. Aria wasn't among them. She might have disagreed with what they were doing. She doesn't agree with everything they do.
Wait, are you saying that each individual is in fact an individual and doesn't necessarily agree with everything that a collective does?
Well, yeah. But basically, there was a bunch of anti-maskers. They went to a local food co-op and went in, refusing to wear masks. And I kind of thought, well, hold on a moment. This food co-op is privately owned. Libertarians are meant to respect property rights, and here's them not respecting property rights. That's the problem, I had. And also they were comparing themselves to fucking Rosa Parks, which I find fucking offensive. Rosa Parks, you can help wearing a mask. Rosa Parks couldn't help wearing a fucking, couldn't help, being black. Anyways, okay.
Yeah, and she was like the second attempt to try to fucking get people to actually turn and look at how fucked up their policies were.
The group also took part in protests at then Attorney General Gordon MacDonald's house, and I saw that. I've seen the video of that protest, and Aria was at that protest. It was against the lockdown. And I have to say, Aria looked the best out of all of them. You know, she did. She looked beautiful. And Governor Chris...
okay, no need to crush on Aria more than.
No, seriously, it was like a really wet day, right? And it was but there she was with her red hair, you know, just looking, you know, as Aria does look, you know, great.
I mean, Aria does look really nice. So.
Yeah. Chris Sununo's house protesting the COVID-19 restrictions. Yeah, okay, fine. They have, you know, as far as I'm concerned, I would defend their right to protest. You know, I do agree with the COVID-19 restrictions, but people have the right to protest. DiMezzo ran as Cheshire County Sheriff twice, once as a Libertarian, once as a Republican. Yeah, we know about this. DiMezzo described herself as a trans satanic anarchist who wants to do away with the enforcement of victimless crimes. She declined to comment on the record about the case because she's not legally able to. You know, I just put that in. You know, Free Keene was also the early home to Christopher Cantwell, also known as the Crying Nazi. Cantwell is currently serving federal prison sentence for threatening to rape the wife of another white supremacist. Freeman said Cantwell never really fitted in the Free Keene group. Now, two things. One, I've heard the accusation that people like Aria and Ian gave a platform to Cantwell. Well, the last time, right, Aria did give a platform to Cantwell. She basically embarrassed the fuck out of him. Okay.
Well, yeah, because
prove what a fucking snowflake
because a caller was shitting on him, and and Aria was just like, yeah, no, we give a platform to these guys too. You know, can't take it. Like, that's your problem. Then he fucking bailed out, and I assume he was crying at the same time. But...
well, basically, he was just acting like a snowflake. But I just remember when she said, you know, if you want to go, go! You know? And I thought it was really brave of her, because she knows that this guy has a propensity for violence. You know, so it shows that she's prepared to stand up to fucking Nazis, and I've always applauded her for that. She's kind of embarrassed I applaud her for that, but, you know, I do.
Well, yeah, I'm showing, giving, like, arguing with the points that Nazis make is different from just letting them on and not. It's not like fucking rationality rules with Sargon of Akkad where they're just agreeing with each other.
Yeah.
Like half of it just being like, I agree. I'm not pushing back at all against anything you say. I agree. No, it wasn't that.
Well, the other theory is that some people have speculated that Cantwell might have turned state's evidence against Freeman and Aria and the rest to get a light sentence. However, he hasn't been involved with these people for a long while, so fuck knows how much he really knows. So I poo-poo that. So, you know, right. So, evidence at Cantwell's federal trial showed that he was in regular contact with Keene police and the FBI about his activities. It was also disclosed at the trial that Cantwell was under FBI surveillance before his arrest in January 2020. He was just an angry guy, and that's the way he's always been. Yeah, he has always been an arsehole. Self-loathing and anger have always been constant for him. Cantwell was also kicked out of the Free State Project, rightfully so, if you ask me. I don't want to be associated with a fucking white supremacist Nazi. He's obviously got loose lips, and his tendency to speak to the police in recent years led to his downfall. Cantwell was also heavily involved in the crypto. You see, they're trying to. Do you see what they're trying to do here?
Yeah.
They're trying to say, oh well, Cantwell's turned state evidence. No one knows that, and as I say, I would imagine not. Seriously, I honestly don't know. However, one thing I'm going to say, right? Though I'm fearful that Aria is going to be facing jail time. I really don't want her to go to jail.
Yeah.
The one thing
I don't want her to go to jail either because, like, I wanted to get my shit together and maybe find something to stream together with Aria.
Well, no, it's not
sorry,
that.
I know it's not for that reason.
But I
just,
think,
like,
I
like a part of me wants to instinctively joke and make it about that because I really don't want her to. I really don't want her to go to jail just for the fact that I don't want her to go to jail.
Yeah. The one thing, if they're tried together, all these 6 people are tried in one trial, I think the trial will become a trial of Bitcoin. In other words, why are they alleging fraud when the US government does not recognize Bitcoin as a legal tender? The other accusation I've heard, which doesn't really, it sort of touches upon this, is that they lied to banks about that they were setting up banks in their churches' names, when in fact it was just about collecting fees for Bitcoin transactions. Well, as I said, Aria does run a fucking church. That's what she does. Okay? And I know this is going to shock some people. For instance, the Church of England, right, has shares in arms manufacturers. Okay? They have business dealings. Churches do. Okay? So,
yeah.
Anyways, we've had a bit of an Aria love fest, and it might have bored some people. But look, check out Aria because she really is, as I said, a colourful free spirit, and I do think she could be a powerful voice for trans people. I just
yeah, and the thing is, you can't just go around being like, oh, the only good voice for trans people is the ones I agree with 90% of what they're saying. That's not how that works. There needs to be some working together, at the very least, on issues we agree with, which is prison, like everything about the police is fucked up and needs to stop. Fuck the police.
Oh yeah, and as Freya points out, and I'm going to make you a mod now, Freya, because I've been meaning to do that, because you're one person who does actually turn up. I mean, obviously Ozma does.
Hey, I turn up occasionally.
Yeah. Anyways, the photo you see in front of you is Mark Edge, who, as I said, started Free Talk Live with Ian Freeman. Now, Mark hasn't been charged. He was actually out of the country when all this happened. I did phone him last week, and I'm sure he was actually asleep when I phoned him, because I didn't realise he was out of the country. I know that he for a while he was living out on one of the US territories in the Pacific, near Japan. But he says he's coming back to Keene this week. Now, Mark, he's a gentleman. He seriously is. Now, he's a conservative libertarian, okay? And I know some people will go, well, does that mean he's an arsehole? No. Let me tell you something. When I came out as trans, he was really supportive of me. He was really, and I was actually a bit of a dick towards him because I was going through some shit, and we didn't speak for about 4 years. But when I sort of dug his phone number out when my transition was completed, and I rang him up and I apologised, and we've been carried on being friends ever since. He's a really nice guy. Now, talking about, I know that last week we were having a conversation about rehabilitation. Okay, Mark, when he was a teenager, made a really bad mistake. He was involved in a murder. He didn't commit the murder.
Oh wow, that is yeah, that is a really bad mistake.
He didn't commit the murder, but he was in the room where the murder happened, and he tried to get the person. This is what I know of this case. He tried to get the person who had committed the murder out of the country. Now, he had to take a plea deal. This is in Florida. And he served 10 years in prison, but got out on a I think it was an appeal. Mark has really changed his life around. You think, fuck, you couldn't have been involved in that. You speak to him, he's just like a really sweet guy. Really, and I'm not kidding here. He is really sweet. And
if you're a teenager, you're going to and someone committed a murder. Yeah, you might be like, like freak out about it and not necessarily make the best decisions.
Yeah.
And 10 years of prison is far too long for a teenager to serve for being around a crime and making a bad decision.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but in Florida, if you get convicted of a felony, such as murder, you get your right to vote taken away from you.
Yep. Well, no, that's not just Florida. That's most states in America.
No,
it's
I know,
really fucked up.
I know a few years ago, Mark actually did sort of lobby the governor of Florida at the time to give him a pardon. Yeah, I think he was turned down unfairly, if you ask me. And I do remember ringing him up and joking, "Well, Mark, never mind. Charlie, I forgot the Charlie. I remember the governor's first name was Charlie, but I remember saying to him, 'That's right, Mark. I pardon you.'" He laughed it off, but I mean, the guy's a really, really nice guy, and the proof that rehabilitation fucking works. Okay, it does work. People make some awful mistakes early in their life, and people can learn from that. Okay, and I really feel for him at the moment, as I feel for Aria, because he's in the eye of the storm of all this bullshit. And I mean, I've sent him some money for legal because he's organising a legal fund. I've already sent him some money, because I do care. Anyways, that's the end of the Aria Love Fest.
Aww.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding.
Anyways, because I didn't because I didn't stream on Friday, we have to cover this. Obviously, people know that 8 people were shot at a massage parlor in Atlanta, and it turns out that the guy who carried this out was a Christian. Oh, jeez, he was a white conservative Christian. It's funny how it's always a white. Everyone says that is that you always get your people Islamic terrorism is the greatest threat. Funny enough, most terrorist attacks which seem to be carried out, in recent years, seem to be carried out by white conservative Christians. Yeah. And from what I've heard, this guy, he was like, he really did think that his penis made him a bad boy. The fact that he had sexual urges. Jeez. Because of and what do you put that down to? Well, fucking Christian bollocks. That's what you put it down to. Saying wanting to have sex is bad. No, it's not. Also, this massage parlor was run by Asians, and it's thought that he might have targeted them because obviously, you've had all that shit from Trump about COVID-19 being the China plague, and we knew that this the consequence of COVID-19 could be a rise in hate crimes against people of Oriental descent. For instance, I have a friend Dawn who is from China, and she said, and she's trans, and she said to me, "I'm not scared to go out in the evenings because I'm trans. I'm scared because I'm Chinese." That's, we knew that this would be a consequence. Anyways, the police spokesperson asking questions about this. He really did put his fucking foot in it, as you'll see.
For the investigators, they interviewed him this morning, and they got that impression that yes, he understood
the gravity of it, and he was pretty much fed up and kind of at the end of his rope, and yesterday was a really bad day for him, and this is what he did.
Remorseful?
Oh, jeez. Oh, right. He went on a killing spree because he had a bad day. Is
Yeah,
that it?
I mean, isn't that the normal like thing that you do with a bad day? You know, I mean, it's a fucking police officer.
Yeah.
I'm
having a really shitty day. I'm just reaching for my AR-15. Okay.
Hey, like I said, police officers, you know, they have a bad day and they shoot and murder black people. So, like, I mean, maybe the police officer just related a bit too much to this.
Yeah, I mean, this meme kind of sums it up. Yeah, I had a bad day. I ate cheesecake for lunch. What I didn't do was murder 8 people. Oh, exactly. Oh, I just had a bad. Oh, he was just having a bad day. Oh, you know. Oh, nothing to it. He was just having a bad day. Well,
Yeah, you know, it's just a regular bad day.
Yeah, you know. I'm going to go postal because I've had a bad day. I mean, for fuck's sake, is this... Yeah, I mean, the thing is, right, I mean, America has been so fucking desensitized to these fucking, you know, mass spree killings.
Mass shootings?
Yeah. It's
a Tuesday in America, so just a regular day.
Yeah. Well, today's
regular weekday, mass murder and police officers saying horrible dumb shit and raiding with SWAT teams when that's unnecessary and risking the lives of anyone living anywhere near the vicinity. You know, average day in America.
Well, yeah, today's Monday. Tell me why I don't like Mondays. You know, actually, that was written about a spree killing. Yeah. The Boomtown Rats, I don't like Mondays, was written about a girl who went into a school and killed her classmates. So, you know, yeah, I mean, seriously, that will be one day. Someone will actually go on a killing spree on a Monday and go, and they'll ask you, why do you do it? Well, because I don't like Mondays. I mean, fuck's sake. You know, he was having a bad day. Fucking hell.
Yeah,
now,
well, I mean, I see, I for whatever reason, I picture them playing that on the headphones to hype them up.
Now, the cop you just heard speak. One thing they're trying to do is play down the sort of racist angle on all this, right? And basically, this guy's got caught. I think he owns a shop, and basically they've been selling these T-shirts, which I think, yeah, here's one. Here they are. Basically, are somewhat racist about COVID-19 being the China virus.
Yep.
Oh, another racist policeman. Jeez, why aren't I fucking surprised?
Yeah, I know. It's weird. It seems to be like a systemic problem that isn't addressed and still hasn't been addressed. You know, as no change has happened in Minneapolis, the city, which is right next door to St. Paul, where I live, where George Floyd was murdered by police officers, and they said they were going to do something, and they have done nothing to address this. So
yeah, but the other thing is, I'd point out this is Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
So this is the Deep South. So
yeah, no, I'm not saying that there's not more racism, but you know,
yeah. But
Minneapolis has always been a shithole. And Minneapolis police have always been the deadly sort of racist.
Yeah, but the thing is, this being the Atlanta police force, what's the thing where, you know, it's packed full of fucking white fucking supremacists? Methinks, you know, it probably is.
Yeah. And it also wouldn't surprise me if that was true of Minneapolis as well.
Georgia's the state where the Ku Klux Klan was founded. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, talking about racist gun owners, check this fucking video out.
It's been corrupted. The Nazi symbol
But
has other
it
meanings.
accidentally.
I'm not saying that. The Nazi symbol in India is a good luck symbol.
Yes.
I understand. Yes. In the American history of it, in
Oh, sorry.
Native Americans, it stood for the four seasons. But now, if you go wave a Nazi symbol of swastika, what are people going to think?
Yes, because we're the
All
best.
right. Yes.
But I mean, we're talking about this symbol right here. That is the humanitarian symbol. That is the humanitarian.
Oh, because it's playing in two different
Oh, yeah, that's it.
things at the same time. I was like, I can still hear it. Like it.
Okay, I
it
should
sure does
explain.
me-
So this couple went into a gun store with Black Lives Matter masks on, right? And the owner of the gun store refused them business and wanted them to leave. And here's his reasoning. Oh, for fuck's sake, stop doing that.
The Nazi symbol has other meanings. I'm not saying
Oh, for fuck's sake. Sorry.
Just no. Don't click on the
the
picture.
Nazi symbol has other meanings. I'm
Right. Okay, let's see if we can... Oh, fuck.
Well, that's muted. That one's muted. But don't click on the picture. Just click on the play button. It's one of those things where it's really finicky. So don't click on the video. Click on the little play button in the corner.
It's been corrupted. The Nazi symbol has other meanings. I'm not saying that. The Nazi symbol in India is a good luck symbol.
Yes.
I understand. Yes. In the American history of it, in the Native Americans, it stood for the four seasons. But now, if you go wave a Nazi symbol of swastika, what are people going to think?
Yes, because we're the best.
All right. Yes.
But I mean, we're talking about this symbol right here. That is the humanitarian symbol. That is the humanitarian. That's the
It's been corrupted and it's tarnished.
The
If you came in,
the line Black Lives Matter has been corrupted.
But I'm just saying, if somebody comes in with a Klan shirt, they are.
You're telling me that
If
equality is
you
the
came
same
in-
as
if you came in
fascism.
with a swastika, they would be asked to leave. It's no different.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, there's a huge difference in that. Similarly, like for instance, if I wear a Star of David and go into a store, you know, they and they kick me out for it or refuse business because I'm wearing the Star of David because of, you know, quote unquote corruption or whatever bullshit reasoning. It's no. That's bad. Those are totally two different circumstances. You know, the genocide of millions of people and Star of David are two different circumstances. And similarly, the genocide of millions of people and people protesting for the stop of police murdering black people, yeah, those are two different things.
This is like those people who say, like Blair White, who tried to defend super straight. That, you know,
God.
it's just another sexuality, you know. And as the woke generation has invented all these other sexualities, you know, super straight should be seen as a legit, you know, sexual. No, it's not. It's discriminating against trans people, and
Well,
this is just the same thing. That, you know, this guy seems to think that, you know, Black Lives Matter is on par with fucking neo-Nazis, and I don't believe that he would refuse service to someone, you know, some skinhead, white supremacist skinhead who comes in his store, because to be blunt about it, the vast majority of people who probably want to buy fucking guns are white supremacists or people who don't realise they're actually white fucking supremacists.
Yeah, and also about this. I mean, wait, are we going to talk about super straight later in the stream?
No, we're not.
Okay, so the super straight thing, the reason it's dumb is most people, you know, have sexual attraction based on appearance. If you can be sexually attracted to a trans woman without knowing that she's trans, well, no, you're just
Exactly. That's
you're just
that was the point.
straight.
That
There's
was the
not
po-
like a different.
That was the point I made. I said that the guy, sitting in his car going, I'm not attracted to trans women. I said, there's plenty of trans women you will not know who are trans.
Yeah.
You would not know. Anyways, let's continue with this.
But I mean, think about Black Lives Matter, Harrison. What have we done? What have we destroyed?
You're not understanding what I'm saying. Black Lives Matter, the organization, is a fascist, Marxist organization.
Fascist, Marxist.
Those are
two opposite points on the fucking political spectrum.
Yeah, and not just that, like, even when Marxism is misused, like the authoritarian government in Russia, that's not technical. This is one of those things where, if we're talking about the technicalities of fascism, that was an authoritarian government, not a fascist government, whereas Germany was a fascist government. And yeah, fascism and Marxism are inherently opposing views. That's like saying, oh, those fascist anarchists. No, that's not like something that makes any goddamn sense.
You need to change your symbolism and create another group, and not associate.
So we need to say something other than Black Lives Matter because that offends you?
But you got to be willing to be treated as second-class citizens, and if you came in with a mask on saying "Bring back Jim Crow," he would have served you. Yeah.
It offends you to say that Black Lives Matter?
It's a racist organization. Thank you.
Black Lives Matter is a racist. What the fuck?
Yeah. So here's the thing that they always conservatives always say. Oh, it's racist against white people because I forget their goddamn reasoning because it's so awful.
You can leave. You can stay. She can leave.
I mean,
if you're going to wear that, you can wear it somewhere else.
That is my
if
point.
you were wearing a swastika, I wouldn't let that in here.
So you're telling me that Nazis and equality, that's equal to you?
Nazis are not equality.
Exactly. You just said it.
Why are you
You just said it. Nazis have nothing to do with equality.
Because we're just trying to change things. We're trying to change laws, make things more American, more equal, more equal.
I find it hilarious that people are offended by the phrase Black Lives Matter. Is it the black part that offends you?
The organization.
We're not with the organization.
Then why are you wearing
There's not
because
there's
I
also
believe
not
that Black
an
Lives Matter.
organization.
Why are you wearing their stuff?
Think about it this way. Just hear me out.
You're wearing their stuff. You're wearing their symbol, but you're not associated with them.
Yes,
then you
we're
need
not.
to change that. Then
Change
the group. Why can't you?
Why
can't you change the group?
I mean, think about. Have you ever heard of Black Lives Matter? It's not called Black.
Oh my god. So this is the same sort of bullshit. That's like saying LGBT is an organization. It's not actually an organization.
Well, it's like saying Antifa is an organization. It's not. Antifa is an ideology, right?
Yeah, and yes, you can have symbols in something that's not really an organization. Pride flags are a thing and still are a thing, and it's not anti-straight to wave a pride flag. And it's also not an organization to be gay.
Black Lives Matter. Harrison's called something else because of
Why?
those statements.
Because people like
you agree with me then.
Dude,
you agree with me.
We're not Democrats. We're just people who want to be left alone and want to make the world a better place.
I understand that. You just said it's not called Black Lives Harrison, it's something else because of the stigmatism.
Because people like you that don't understand what the statement means.
Believe in the actual core fundamental movement, which is, hey, race comes together. Hey,
but that's not the core. It's a Marxist organization. Look at the history. Look at who created.
Right now, this is something which is actually quite dangerous. This is something which Nigel Farage has been trying to do. He's saying, "Oh, I agree that there should be racial equality, but the Black Lives Matter. I believe in their message, but the organisation is Marxist." What he means by that is that Black Lives Matter are cultural Marxists. Okay, this is something which people need to be aware of. And cultural Marxism is an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. It alleges that essentially there was some intellectual Jews at the Frankfurt School during Nazi Germany who fled to America.
Yeah, and then there's that stupid fucking conspiracy book who referred to them as Jewish Bolsheviks, and then they updated.
So essentially, basically, they're saying that there was a bunch of Jews who came to America to try and divert America away from its traditional values. What? Slavery and persecution. Is that the American way? No, I don't fucking think so. This guy's a total arsehole. And sorry, I should correct myself. Racist arsehole. Enough of him.
Yeah.
Now,
this
is something which is of interest. Let's have a watch.
It's on mute.
As he faces charges for his role in the... Tonight, new video has been released in the case against the so-called QAnon shaman as he faces charges for his role in the Capitol insurrection. CNN's Brian Todd is covering all the angles for us. Brian, tell us more about these videos and why they were made public.
They were made public, Wolf, because the judge is frankly fed up. Tonight, one of the most visible rioters on January 6th seems to have gotten squarely on the bad side of the judge in his case.
We won the day.
Tonight, Jacob Chansley, the so-called QAnon shaman who wore a headdress and face paint and carried a spear inside the Capitol, has been called out by U.S. District Judge Royce Lamberth. The court today releasing two videos, which the judge believes back his assertion in court papers that Chansley, quote, blatantly lied during an interview with 60 Minutes Plus. This is what Judge Lamberth believes was a lie.
Police were waving people into the building.
Judge Lamberth believes this video, showing rioters breaking windows, then panning over to a shot of Chansley walking through a door, shows Chansley was lying when he claimed police waved him in.
And that shows you that this defendant, Jacob Chansley, has really angered this judge and has really compromised his own credibility in the mind of the judge.
Judge Lamberth had already accused Chansley and his attorney of doing that 60 Minutes Plus interview without the court's permission. Chansley's lawyer claimed they were not trying to be deceitful. Chansley has pleaded not guilty to 6 charges, including violent entry and disorderly conduct in the Capitol attack. Judge Lamberth recently ruled that Chansley is too dangerous to release and has to stay in jail pending his trial.
Now, so Chansley, the QAnon shaman, said that police waved him into the Capitol building. Well,
police waved some people in.
Yeah, and the judge better see this video then, because guess what?
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go. And they just breached the Capitol again.
People were wondering how the Trump protesters were able...
See, exactly. They did open the gate. There was another video I saw which I can't find from another angle.
Yeah, because the other video is much better, which shows them unlocking secure doors and waving them in.
Yeah. Well, the other video I saw was they took away the barricade and literally were waving them on. So I have to say the QAnon shaman isn't actually totally full of shit. There is some truth to this, and I don't know what's happened with the Capitol Police, but some serious questions really still remain about all this, and the police involvement. And as I remember, I went back and listened to me and Christy talking about this on the day it happened. And I remember saying that, maybe one of the reasons this happened was, the other thing is, if I can find it, I think I've got it somewhere. Hold on.
Yeah, and I went back and forth on the level of police involvement, but that one video of police unlocking secure doors and letting insurrectionists in is just...
Yeah, and this is also from CNN, right? Just watch this.
Oh yeah, the fuckers who are like taking pictures with
House
the
Speaker Nancy
police they
Pelosi
like.
called for the resignation of the U.S. Capitol Police Chief Stephen Sund, saying she has received notice that he will submit his resignation. Plus, Republican and Democratic lawmakers are demanding an investigation into how this pro-Trump terrorist mob was able to overtake Capitol Police and storm the U.S. Capitol. The chief of U.S. Capitol Police is defending his officers, saying they responded, quote, valiantly, and that they were, quote, actively attacked with metal pipes and other weapons. The chief did not explain how the mob managed to get inside the Capitol and smash windows, destroy property, freely mill about in secure spaces, force members of Congress to shelter in place. One officer appears to have posed for a selfie with one of these rioters, and well after...
And that's not the only one, okay?
Yeah.
So, you know, I in some ways, I think that the QAnon shaman is bringing up some sore points to the criminal justice system, and I don't like it. Okay.
And he might actually be honest there in that he may have been waved into other parts of the Capitol, even if it wasn't the original part, the part of the building which he was most filmed and which did involve breaking in.
Yeah.
Because he was all over the fucking Capitol building.
So, now, the other interesting thing is, the Proud Boys have said, oh yeah, we were present at the Capitol, right, but we weren't involved. Well, how come then, Proud Boys leaders in 4 states are charged with in the Capitol riot? You're up to your fucking eyeballs in this bullshit. You really are. And so are the 3%ers who are the out-and-out neo-Nazi
Wait,
militia.
are you saying that Ben Shapiro's support of the Proud Boys was wrong?
Yeah. Well, it was right. It was wrong even before all this because they're out fucking...
Yeah, I know.
They stink of fucking anti-Semitism, and it does make...
Yeah.
But hey, Ben Shapiro's prepared to get into fucking bed with any fucking, anti-Semite. He proved that with Gina Carano, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, talking of far right thugs, Tommy Robinson. So, I'm just going to play you this because I'm getting tired. Not tired of all of you, my darlings, who are watching. I'm just...
Well, I mean, I can read it if you want.
Yeah, go on.
Tommy Robinson has been accused of misusing supporters' money as he declares himself bankrupt, despite receiving hundreds of thousands of pounds in donations and funding The Independent can reveal. This month, Robinson, the English Defence League founder and now self-styled journalist, was listed...
Stop there. He thinks he's a fucking journalist.
Let me tell you. Self-styled journalist.
He nearly brought down a very expensive court case involving a child paedophile ring. Now, the reason why he took an interest in this is because they were Muslims. Right, He says that he's concerned about child predators. He's only interested in child predators who have brown skin. Funny that.
Yeah.
And the vast majority of child predators are white.
Yep.
Yeah. Strange that.
Works.
Yeah. But The Independent has seen financial documents indicating that a huge scale funding given to Robinson since announcing going independent in 2018. In little over 2 months, he received almost $425,000, that's over $500,000, in donations from his supporters, documents suggest. He is also believed to have raised a significant huge amount after being jailed for contempt of court in May 2018. That was following that nearly bringing down that case. though an American group called Middle East Forum said it had funded his defence. It did. It does. Has funded him. Former employees have raised questions about where the money from fundraising campaigns went. Well, I can tell you where they went. They went up his fucking nose, in the shape of Bolivian marching dust. However, Robinson strongly denies misusing any funds. Around about 10,000.
And don't be afraid ever to tag me in.
Sorry?
Wrestling terminology. Don't ever be afraid, concerned to tag me in if you ever want me to read for you.
Around 10,000 was donated for a protest called the Day of Freedom that Robinson headlined in May 2018. But Colin Robertson, who worked for the far right activist at the time, claims money he requested to purchase equipment and cover overheads never materialised. The video producer, who was since stopped working for Robinson and disassociated himself from the far right, said he witnessed a transfer of large sums of crowdfunding from a crowdfunding page into the activist's bank account. He told The Independent that, noticing the withdrawal of $33,000 in donations he asked for the money was being used for, Mr. Robinson alleged his employer said he had mates to pay back for, I don't know what that word is, C sheets.
Sashes.
We realised that he was withdrawing huge amounts of donations in cash from business account and was giving it to his friends who were selling him coke, who he owed for nights out. He added, we know that. I mean, he did this video in Israel where he bragged about buying cocaine in, I think it was Bahrain or Dubai, and Tommy Robinson says he's an anti-Muslim activist, right? He didn't, stupid fucking Gowan, which he is, doesn't realise that if you buy cocaine in places such as that, what you're actually doing is helping to fund ISIS, because that's how they raise their funds.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's part of how, making drugs legal will kind of take away a lot of funds from the crueler of terrorist organizations.
So, yeah, none of this surprises me. I mean, he's bought himself some nice clothes, nice shoes. He lives in a fucking mansion. Now he's declared bankruptcy, but he's doing a fiddle. Because what he's done, for instance, the house and the car are now in his wife's name, right? So, this is the way some people get around bankruptcy. They transfer. Yeah. This is all to do with he's being sued for slander and libel for saying that an Islamic kid was beating up students at a school when it turned out that the white students were beating him up. And it looks like he'll lose this. So, what he's trying to do is ensure that he's got, basically he's got no possession, valuable possessions which bailiffs can take away. To pay for legal costs and whatever damages he has to pay. Anyway, it's another story to do with Tommy Robinson, and you can read this.
Tommy Robinson. Do you want me to start from the top then? Tommy Robinson given stalking ban after threats to journalist. EDL founder allegedly threatened to falsely accuse Lizzie Dearden, partner, of being a pedophile. Tommy Robinson threatened to falsely accuse journalist partner of being a pedophile in a bid to squash a negative story about him. A court has heard.
But this is
on
not
Friday.
This is not the first time he's tried something like this. Mike Sudbury, who's a Australian journalist who wrote for I think the Independent, basically about 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, no, it was earlier. It might be 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. Tommy Robinson turned up at his door, banging on it and going, "Oi, you know, blah de blah, I'm going to get you," and whatever else. Yeah, so this is not the first time. I mean, Tommy Robinson is a fascist thug. That's what he is. Anyways, continue.
Yeah. On Friday, the 38-year-old founder of the English Defence League was handed a temporary stalking prevention order against the Independent Home Affairs correspondent, Lizzie Dearden, and her boyfriend, Samuel Partridge. Robinson, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, did not attend the hearing at Westminster Magistrates Court, where the Deputy Chief Magistrate, Tan Ikram, agreed to impose the interim order ahead of a full application on the 2nd of July.
Yeah.
The court... Oh, sorry.
You go.
Oh, the court heard Robinson went to their home in southeast London on 17th of January, days after a request for comment through his solicitor's firm about a story alleging he misused money donated by his supporters.
Yeah.
Which
we've just read.
Yeah. And Ryan Dowdling, representing the Metropolitan Police, said Robinson arrived at about 9:50 p.m. with another person in a black Range Rover and began buzzing the building's intercom. Oh, just like the story you talked about.
Yeah.
He asked Dearden and Partridge to come down to talk and tried to get into the building when they refused, but was stopped by security, he said. Dowding told the court he could be heard shouting very loudly words to the effect of, "Samuel, I know you're inside. Come out and we'll sort this out. We'll be back every day if we have to."
Let me see if I can find the Mike Sudbury, because Mike Sudbury had a camera.
Yeah. Because, like, this is total... Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, hold on.
Oh, wait. What was that uncut?
What's that?
Oh, yeah. No, that...
I got the note. I got the spelling of the name wrong. Hold on. I don't want to use that channel because it's obvious that that's a left wing, far right channel. Hold on.
Go up a little.
Stutchbury.
What was that uncut thing? Was that not...
Stutchbury. Hold on. This is it, but Stutchbury. Hold on. Let me see if I can remember how to write, spell it. Alright, we'll have to watch this one. I don't like having to use this channel, but no, actually, we're not going to watch it. Basically, hold on a second. I'm just going to put you on. I'll see if I can find it. Well, I don't really want to use this. I don't really want to use that channel, if you know what I mean. Hold on. No, the only. Yeah, the only. Yeah, the. Oh, hold on. That's a Jewish media channel. So yeah, okay. It's a brief. I'm just trying to see. So I don't want to, in case any of these channels are monetized, I don't want to. I'm not giving them fucking money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't really find a clip on a. There's the briefest clip on a Jewish news channel, but it doesn't really explain it whole. Obviously, Jewish people should be very wary of Tommy Robinson. Yes, I know that he says he's a Zionist, but here's the thing with the far right and Zionism. The reason they support Zionism is because they basically want Israel to become an ethno-national state, or otherwise known as a ghetto. They basically want all us Jews to fuck off there, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, we haven't had much love, and we need more love. Anyways, so Trans Pride, which is the biggest Pride festival specifically for trans people, which is held in Brighton every year. They're still not confirming whether they're going. There's Sarah Savage. I've got a very cheeky photo with Sarah on Facebook. I've known Sarah for years. They've not confirmed whether they're going to cancel or not yet. I hope they do go ahead. Maybe. You see, the thing is, the government were hoping to get out of lockdown by the 20th of June. However, see if I can see myself in this photo. Because I was there.
Yeah, no, that's like the photo I have from high school. So they didn't have my actual picture in the senior book. So like the only place I can be found is they took a picture of the entire senior class, and that's like the only senior picture that's official from the school.
Anyways, they haven't. As I said, the government are hoping to get out of lockdown by the 20th of June. However, there's been a hold up with vaccines, so we don't know. Now, usually, Trans Pride is at the end of July, so I don't know. I hope they can go ahead somehow, maybe in August. But the good news is that the Pride in London is due to go ahead on, well, of all days, September the 11th. So yeah, and I mean, I love Pride. I love Pride because it's the one day of the year I get cheered on for being trans. Okay, and I know some people. God, you must be really small inside. Your ego must be that No, you don't get cheered on often for being trans. Okay, but that's
also my ego is a million times bigger than Sophia's. So like, look, I'm gonna play. Damn it, I can't think of words. But I will say Sophia's ego is nowhere near as large as mine, so I'm competitive on that.
Yeah, you've just been reading too much Ayn Rand, haven't you?
Oh God, I actually haven't read any Ayn Rand.
Also,
my dad read Ayn Rand in I don't remember if it's like high school or early college, and then he grew up and realized how awful it was. So
yeah, so the larger Brighton Pride is due to go ahead in early August, between the 6th and the 8th of August. That's if obviously we do come out of lockdown by the 20th or 21st of June. Also, Manchester Pride. These are the three London, Brighton, and Manchester are the big three prides in this country. That's also due to go ahead. Let me see if I can find a date for you. Yes, here we are, the 27th to the 30th of August. So that's probably the public. There's a public holiday at the end of August, so that's probably that weekend. It's good to hear, because as I said, Pride's great. I love Pride. I really do. The thing is, though, I'm hearing more, and this brings us on to our next story. I'm hearing more and more from fucking conservatives about, oh, yeah, I've got nothing against LGBTQ people, but I just don't like them shoving it in my face. And it's like, well, what do you mean by that? Well, those fucking pride parades. Well, then don't go to them.
Yeah, it's weird how oftentimes they talk about free market and the importance of everyone getting a say, and then when people say something they don't like, well, Well, I
mean, it's just that basically they've got nothing against LGBTQ people, just as long as LGBTQ people aren't in fucking public. And the reason,
it would be much nicer for them if we were, let's say, in a ghetto or maybe a selective area, like maybe fenced in, perhaps one might call it a camp.
We should. We should have our own reservations, shouldn't we? Fuck off. Just fuck off. Okay. The fact that I hear conservatives go, "What do you need to have pride parades?" Well, the reason we need to have pride parades is because you asked why we need pride parades, because you have persecuted and victimized us and tortured us and killed us for hundreds of fucking years, and now we get the chance to say, "Hey, we're out, we're loud, and we're proud," right?
Yeah. Except me, I'm not very loud. I
thought you had a big ego.
Yeah, I'm quiet about it, except when I'm not. I'm also a hypocrite, so.
Yeah. All right. So, however, there might be a bit of a hiccup with Pride Parade. So, Priti Patel, who's the Home Secretary, do you have a Secretary for the Interior in the cabinet?
Are you talking about like Secretary of State?
No. Secretary of Interior would be sort of they have them in Europe. Basically, it's looking at overseeing law and order within the country.
There's a Department of Interior.
Well, no, there's the
Secretary of the Department of the Interior.
Yeah, something like that. Home Secretary. Well, Priti Patel, obviously, she's the one who brought this policing bill. We've got to talk more about that, unfortunately. And she's known not to be very LGBTQ friendly. Let's just say that. Anyways, over the weekend, there were a few demonstrations against. There was the Kill the Bill demonstrations. There was various ones around the country, and these are a couple of photos for some. That one I like. Yeah. Anyways, unfortunately, in Bristol there was violence, and in fact, they managed to get into the police station. I'm going to say this, right? One of the reasons this is happening, okay, is because there's no fucking opposition. Keir Starmer is people are doing this because they feel that no one is speaking up for them. Where's fucking Keir Starmer? Nowhere to be heard, right?
Well, I mean, he's having a cup of tea with the Queen. As a Labour person would do.
Not. However, there is a sort of more serious side to this, which is to do with LGBTQ people. Now, this actually comes from LGBTQ Labour. I went through this with Kevin, but it's worth going through it again if people didn't see it. So I was on Kevin Logan's stream last week.
Yeah.
Talking about how shitty things are for trans people in this country at the moment. But anyways, let's see if this works.
After a year of being isolated from friends, family, our community and allies, we know that Pride this year will be more important than ever. A moment of celebration and relief after an incredibly difficult and traumatic time for everyone. For many, Pride season will also mark an escape from being forced back into the closet during the pandemic. But also, whilst we have come far, at its heart, Pride has always been and remains a protest. That's why we at LGBT+ Labour are incredibly concerned about the government.
Right. Now, about at its heart that Pride is still about protest. It is, particularly for trans people. I know that there are accusations that Pride has become very corporate. And sure, you do see like some companies having floats there who have had some really dodgy, who have had their past history has been really dodgy when it comes to LGBTQ inclusion. But the thing is, particularly with Pride in London, because of the corporate sponsorship, I'm able to walk around London with a placard shouting for trans rights for free. Okay, that's a consequence of that, right? And I think that's a good thing, right? Anyways, onwards. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
A cornerstone of our democracy, and fundamental tenet of our human right to assemble, but there's been little mention of how this would include Pride marches. These are parades that have been pivotal to our movement, crucial in achieving human rights, and critical in advancing equality for LGBT+ people, just as they were at the time of their inception 50 years ago. Pride marches remain a protest, with LGBT+ equality far from achieved. We are still having to fight for the right not to be subjected to conversion therapy.
Yeah.
We still have to advocate and push for trans people to be able to live authentically, and for better protection from hate.
Well, he did actually, Keir Starmer did actually come out in supporting outlawing conversion therapy. But the thing is, I remember...
Oh, he finally has done that?
Yeah, he did. But the thing is... my thoughts on it was, you took your pretty time doing so. It seemed to me that he just basically stuck his finger out of the window and saw which way the wind was blowing, essentially. Also, I mean, he came out against the policing bill, but that was only after, that the police mishandling of that vigil in Clapham. Yet again, stuck his finger outside the window and saw which way the wind's blowing. The guy hasn't got any fucking principles. Anyways.
We are still having to fight for the right not to be subjected to conversion therapy. We still have to advocate and push for trans people to be able to live authentically, and for better protection from hate crimes. Across the world, our LGBT+ brothers and sisters face persecution and murder. That is why every year, we have to come out loud and proud and demonstrate for our right to be equal, and to be heard. Yet this government intends to give the police power to shut down protests that are noisy. Marches that disrupt the activities of organizations and have a relevant impact on a person in the vicinity. Pride marches are meant to be noisy.
Yeah, they are.
They are meant to cause disruption.
Yeah.
They are meant to have impact.
That's what all protests
Drafted
are.
so
All protests
widely,
are supposed
without
to
care or worry about
cause
who
disruption.
or what will be caught in its wake. It's not inconceivable that this bill will allow the police to shut down pride marches at the behest of bigots, or even just one or two complaints, especially in the areas where pride marches aren't always welcomed with open arms.
Now, that's the danger. Now, let me tell you something. Okay, a couple of years ago, no, actually, was it No, it was 2008. Was it 2019? No, it was 2018. So 3 years ago, right? Pride in London the parade was held up at Pride of London because some TERFs decided to lay down in front of the Pride parade before it set off in protest that trans people were included. Now, so you can just now TERFs are getting a lot of financial backing from the United States, right? So and we know that recently they had raised money for a legal challenge to question on the UK census, which, by the way, even though supposedly that question wasn't meant to be on the UK census, about does your gender differ from the one on your birth certificate? Well, funny enough, that question was still in, and I was able to put down woman. Yeah.
Oh no!
I did my census over the weekend. Yeah, so that's the nub of it. That there is this question about could Pride parades be cancelled? Because that's a worry.
Yeah, especially with all the fucking police can do anything and break down protesters. Like fucking hell. Yeah, I mean, under police state, no one LGBTQ is included when it's a police state. No one.
Anyways, so there were, as I said, various demonstrations, kill the bill demonstrations over the weekend. Basically protesting the police bill. Most of them passed off fairly peacefully. Here's an article about this.
As the media fixates on Bristol, don't forget thousands took to the streets this weekend to #kill the bill.
As the controversial police, crime, sentencing and courts bill languishes in the committee stage, an increasing number of people have shown their opposition to the legislation. But while the escalation at the Bristol protest has dominated the headlines, let's not forget that thousands of people took to the streets to protest the bill.
Now, why has that dominated the headlines? It wouldn't be because the police are essentially, sorry, not the police, the media are basically sucking authoritarian bootlickers, because basically the news media wants to shove propaganda down our fucking throats. Tory propaganda, that being, and when people get uppity about them doing so, well, who do they look to quell the people getting miffed? Oh, the police. Yeah.
Across the country at the weekend, the bill will give the police increased powers to impose conditions on protests as well as criminalizing Gypsy, Roma, and traveller communities. Birmingham.
Yeah, because
oh my god,
Gypsy, Roma, and traveller communities just aren't persecuted enough already.
Yeah, I know. Like they fucking what this is? This is so part of the reason why you have people who fight out against stuff is when people learn about the stuff. I mean, even conservatives here in America aren't denying that there was segregation and slavery. Now, when it comes to England, I feel like Europe and England,
I think PragerU
don't talk about the oppression of the Roma.
PragerU, I think, have been having a go at trying to write slavery out of US history. But
yeah, well, I mean, so there's a big problem with slavery being downplayed. That has been a problem since the down south. They did supported a lot of propaganda things to, turn the Civil War was always about slavery. They made it about states' rights. That is propaganda, and they downplayed how awful Black people were treated during slavery, and everywhere in America admittedly downplays how awful Black people are treated during segregation.
Right. You can listen to the rest of this article, and if it finishes by the time I get back from having a pee, I'm sure Ozma will entertain you with her thoughts on World of Warcraft. I need to take a pee.
Birmingham. Hundreds of people showed up to support the right to protest in Birmingham. Demonstrators socially distanced as they gathered at Victoria Square in the city. Alice Matthews tweeted, "Amazing turnout in Birmingham today to #kill the bill and defend our right to protest. Everyone who came showed WM Police, the PCC candidates and BCC, we won't be ruled by fear. We're policed by consent, and can remove consent. There is no place for police brutality in Birmingham." Sean Formello tweeted, "Very proud to see numbers out for the #kill the bill protest in Birmingham. Tories want to push it into the long grass, but that won't happen. We are organised and against it." Brighton. Over 1,000 people joined a march against the bill in Brighton on Saturday, the 20th of March. The protesters gathered at around 2 p.m. and marched through the streets, disrupting some bus services and traffic. After hearing speeches, protesters moved through the city, raising chants such as "We will not be silenced." The demonstrators reportedly started heading home after 4 p.m., after a peaceful march. Joyce_stacked tweeted, "Well done #Brighton #kill the bill." Will Flockton tweeted, "kill the bill protest in #Brighton. Easily 1,000 people." Bristol. The protest against the bill in Bristol has been widely reported after some protesters set police cars on fire. 7 arrests have already been made. Prior to this, and until the police moved in, the demonstration, which began on College Green, had been peaceful.
Yeah, basically, essentially, the accusation is that the police kind of antagonised people in Bristol, whereas in Brighton, the police backed off. So, you know. But of course, Nigel Farage, you. I always expected Nigel Farage to do a John Major type speech with, about England should be, women cycling to evening song on a warm summer's evening, and warm beer, and cricket on the village green, and jam roly-poly for tea, and imperial measurements, none of that metric nonsense. Anyways,
yeah,
Nigel,
they want, Nigel wants to keep the Britain imperial.
Yeah, well, he still believes in rule fucking Britannia. Yeah, he still thinks we're an imperial fucking power. The fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Anyways,
fuck all conversations smell of rancid gammon in the Gulf studio. Let's not challenge his shitty views.
Yeah, well, the fucking media never fucking do.
Yeah.
I do remember the time, James O'Brien, who is one of the few sort of lefty talk radio show hosts, actually did challenge him. And basically, the guy, this Farage's spin doctor, pulled him out of that interview because, basically, O'Brien had done his homework on some of the shit Farage had been saying, and they did not like it. Anyways, Farage this morning, of course, was going, "Yeah, this is radical Marxism. Yeah, this is, this is anarchy on the streets." Doing the Donald Trump line, basically. I mean, him and Donald. I mean, I'm surprised that now that Donald's no longer president and Nigel is no longer the leader of the Brexit party, they've got more time on their hands. They should get a motel room together and explore their bromance a bit more. You know what me thinks.
Yeah, well, I mean, Trump's not going to pay for it.
But the thing
because he's too broke, and Farage doesn't want to pay for it out of principle.
Yeah, the other thing is, of course, he's been banging on about how this is Marxism. Yet again, folks, this is an anti-Semitic dog whistle.
Yeah.
Okay, just reminding you of that. Anyways, the Daily Fail, being the with all their self-righteous right-wing indignation, is criticising Labour MP Nadia Whittome for not condemning protesters in Bristol, which left 20 officers injured and a police station trashed. And how many protesters were injured? It doesn't say that, does it? You know.
Police officers signed up for a job in which they could be injured. They knew the risk of being a police officer. Protesters protesting peacefully didn't sign up to be hurt by police officers.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we don't sign up for fascism. Police do.
Yeah, well, they like the fascism.
A Labour MP today refused to condemn protesters who went on a rampage through Bristol, setting police vehicles on fire and leaving 20 officers injured. Nottingham East MP Nadia Whittome said she wished everyone who has been hurt a speedy recovery, but insisted she will not condemn protesters until we know exactly what happened, calling for an investigation into the police response. The comments came despite Boris Johnson, Sir Keir Starmer, the Labour mayor of the city, and a host of other senior figures branding the events inexcusable and completely unacceptable. Appearing on the BBC's Politics Live, Ms Whittome, at 24, the youngest MP in Parliament, was pressed repeatedly by host Joe Coburn on whether she would condemn the scenes. "Of course, Joe, I don't want to see violence against anybody. I wish everybody who's been hurt in this a speedy recovery," Ms Whittome said. "As I've already said, I am not going to get into the business of condemning protesters until we know exactly what happened." Coburn said it was quite clear in the footage that people were setting fire to police vans and attacking the police.
Well, as I said, we haven't got to the bottom of all this yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be an inquiry.
But also, there's always been, with protesters, there are people who start violence for the police to get violent, like people.
Yeah,
paid for by the police.
Agent provocateurs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've heard stories about how like MI5 will basically have some agent who will get involved with a bunch of anarchists, get them all pissed up in a pub, and basically go and tell them to attack some, I don't know, department store, you know, which is meant to be some sort of, you know, symbol of monstrous fucking neoliberal capitalism. But what the reason they're doing that, they'll ask them to specifically target a specific place, is that basically they forewarn the fucking media, point your cameras there, you know, because I always remember about 10 years ago I went on an anti-cuts march, right? And it was a carnival atmosphere. Most fucking protests I go to are carnival atmospheres. Anyways, when I got home, right, basically the BBC News, it was all about some bunch of anarchists trashing some shop or something or other, and it was like, well, hold on, like there was 300,000 fucking people in that march, you know, and what, 20 anarchists, you know, trash a shop, and that's fucking news headlines, you know?
Yeah, because protest bad, live, follow the system rules, obey the fucking Tory leash holders.
Yeah. And as I said, the reason why maybe people are rioting is because there's no fucking opposition to this fascist shit, right?
Yeah, that's why you riot, to try to force people to pay attention to a real problem causing real pain and suffering. And by protesting and forcing attention to it, you make it more difficult for people to increase the pain, and you make it more obvious what's happening. And the BBC is not helping with that because they are, you know, sucking the dick of the Tory government.
Right. Well, as I said, no opposition. Well, Keir Starmer, so there are local elections in May, and I've already said that Labour are not going to do well. And this is...
I will say I'm not a fan of the Keir Starmer Batman.
By the way, have you seen there's a 4-hour version of Justice League out now?
Yeah, no, I actually enjoyed it.
You actually managed to find 4 hours, 4 fucking hours to watch a Zack Snyder film. Money. Then again,
I have roommates.
Then again,
like you're.
Then again, I did watch the 3.5-hour version of Zack Snyder's Watchmen. So,
yeah, no, it had a lot more. So I mean, there was none of the random fucking ass shots of Wonder Woman that were in the fucking Whedon-verse version, and a bunch of like awful shit like that, and it just felt more cohesive and with a clear direction, and
anyways. So Starmer is already getting his fucking excuses in for why Labour are going to be absolutely atrociously, saying that Boris is again, the Tories are going to have and Boris are going to have a vaccine bounce because they've been rolling out the vaccine at double speed. The thing is, though, all things considered, Labour should be ahead in the fucking polls by now because this Tory government has failed this country in its mismanagement of fucking COVID-19.
Yeah.
But and one of the reasons why the Tories are still ahead in the polls is because Keir Starmer's offered no fucking opposition. Right? Now, Len McCluskey, right, has basically said that Keir Starmer is heading for the dustbin of history. Now, Len McCluskey is the General Secretary of the Unite Union, which happens to be my trade union, fun enough. And I like Len. And yeah, he's right. And but as a consequence, he's put because Keir Starmer's heading to being heading to be for the dustbin of history. He's the Labour Party on a fucking death spiral. Right?
Yeah.
They really are. It's just bad press after fucking bad press with fucking Labour, and it is all down to fucking Keir Starmer. Now, I know you're getting the right of the Labour Party saying you got to give him time, got to give him. He's only been leader for a year. Well, I do remember that as soon as Jeremy Corbyn got into fucking became fucking leader. Fucking Blairites were, complaining, and it was like we were asking for Corbyn to be given time, but they wouldn't have it. But now they're saying that they're giving the same fucking argument with fucking Starmer, and it's like, no, we're in a fucking national crisis. He needs to step up to the fucking plate or go. And the answer is for him to go because he's not up to the fucking job.
You know what?
What?
Biden hasn't even been president for a year and has done far more to gain a clear attention in terms of some of the aspects of what he fights for and some of the aspects of what he doesn't fight for, and made it clear. Whereas going wishy-washy on everything isn't going to get Keir Starmer anywhere, and he needed to do it. He needed to make his positions clear a year ago.
Yeah, well, he hasn't. So,
or arguably a year and a half ago.
Now, there's another consequence of this stupid fucking policing bill, and that's to do with people protesting for disability rights.
Proposed new anti-protest laws pose a threat to free speech and are an attempt to silence and control protesters, disabled activists have warned. Disabled people who have taken part in protests organized by Disabled People Against Cuts, DPAC, and the Extinction Rebellion climate change movement spoke out this week after the government published its new police, crime, sentencing, and courts bill.
A
307-page bill.
I was going to say, a few years ago, I met Kyra Doyle, who is one of the leaders of the Disabled People Against Cuts. I saw her give a speech in the middle of a church where she dropped the F-bomb on several fucking occasions.
Oh, God.
That was quite funny. She's quite cool. I like Kyra.
Which began its progress through Parliament this week.
with MPs voting in favour of the draft legislation at its second reading, includes measures that have been branded an attack on the right to protest. Among the many parts of the bill to have already caused alarm is Section 59, which would impose a prison sentence of up to 10 years on protesters whose actions put a person at risk of serious annoyance or serious inconvenience.
What?
Disabled activists fear that many of the anti-austerity and climate change demonstrations and direct action they have taken part in over the last decade would now see them being convicted and even imprisoned. Bob Williams-Findlay, who took part in the major Extinction Rebellion protests in London in October 2019 as part of the XR Disabled Rebels group, and in many DPAC actions, said the bill was without doubt one of the most authoritarian pieces of legislation to go before Parliament. He said,
Now, here's the thing, right? So, the death rate, the last time I checked for COVID-19, was 130,000 plus in this country, right?
Which is ridiculously awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, and people go, geez, that's really high. Well, that's about the amount of disabled people who have been killed due to welfare reform over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one gave a shit then, did they? This is why disabled
people don't care if disabled people fucking starve to death because they aren't given the proper support they need.
I remember when all the sort of austerity bullshit started, and I feared what was going to happen. I remember Terry the Tory troll said to me, well, it's just disabled people dying, that's collateral damage. Oh, great. You're all heart, aren't you, Terry, I mean, that was
the total fun of being labeled as collateral damage. Also, like, the fucking annoyance. There are plenty of people who are annoyed that disabled people use the bus or go to their own bathrooms that they need. Like, there are so many reasons for people to use that to just put disabled people in jail.
Disabled people have done some pretty good protests. Back in 2015, disabled people stormed Parliament. I remember this, and disrupted Prime Minister's questions. Now, there is a bit of an irony when they did this, right? Because it was the same day that the government had announced an increase in the civil list. Now, for those outside the UK who don't know what that is, it's basically Lizzie and the Windsors dole check. Yeah, the amount of money the royals get. Right, so they announced an increase.
Which should be zero. They should fucking sell all their goddamn gold and suck it up. Because
disabled people are struggling from day to day. And basically, the Tories want to fucking I'm trying not to use the C word here. Basically, make their lives even worse, and yet, they're prepared to increase the money for Lizzie and Charlie and whoever the fuck else to bounce around in fucking, gold horse-drawn carriages to wave at the fucking crowds, the
most important job out there to like, I feel like they get paid too much money for looking pretty to the crowds, and I don't get paid enough money for looking pretty to the crowds. So I have a problem with this.
Right. Anyways, a couple of years later, they did it again, and I actually remember this.
There's been a protest by a number of disability protesters here inside Central Lobby because of their anger. I'm sorry?
You have to stop. You can't film with this going on in the background.
You're not allowed to film this. Why not?
Because it's part of the rules and conditions of you using this area that you're not allowed to film.
As you can see, we're not allowed to film here, so unfortunately I'm going to have to terminate this.
The thing is, disabled people have been, have basically been victimised and persecuted to pay for the fuck-ups of bankers crashing the fucking world economy. The thing is, the Tories don't want them, protesting this.
Yeah, why would we want to protest being collateral damage? Why would people want to protest, having it be okay if they die? Why would people be upset that society says it's okay if you die so long as the good, strong Aryan race exists, or whatever the fuck kind of white supremacist bullshit that runs through their goddamn arguments.
All right. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you saw this. This is really touching. So
I did. I did. I also shared it on my stream when it happened, but it's still like fucking. It's so fucking heartwarming. It's like the most fucking heartwarming thing ever, and I love it. And yeah.
So a father of four has shared the moment he realised that he was wrong to deny his trans kid her truth in a powerful, moving testimony. Brandon Bulwer, a lawyer, a Christian, and a son of a Methodist minister, was speaking in Missouri against the proposed anti-trans bill that would effectively ban trans kids, including his volleyball-loving daughter, from playing on sports teams. Yeah, there's a number of these fucking acts in various state legislatures at the moment. Yeah, let's have a listen to what he has to say, because it is touching.
It is so good.
Oh, we're doing this again, are we?
Well, no. Oh, wait. Just...
Oh, yeah, all right. We'll have to
I think this one, it has to, but just unmute it, lower right.
I'm a lifelong Missourian. I'm a business lawyer. I'm a Christian. I'm the son of a Methodist minister. I'm a husband. I'm the father of 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls, including a wonderful and beautiful transgender daughter, who today happens to be her birthday. And I chose to be here. She doesn't know that. She thinks I'm at work. One thing I often hear when transgender issues are discussed is, I don't get it. I don't understand. And I would expect some of you to have said that and feel the same way. I didn't get it either. For years, I didn't get it. My name is Brandon Bulwer.
Oh.
And Chairman, I'll go as quickly as I can. I'm a lifelong Missourian. I'm a business lawyer.
One moment.
I'm a Christian. I'm the son of a Methodist minister.
You got like one that's cut into fucking clips.
Shit.
One moment. I'm gonna try to find the full video because I fucking love it.
Alright, if you can find the full video, quickly. Put it in chat.
Yeah. Shit. Darn it! I was hoping I linked it to someone I knew.
Hold on, let's see if I can find it.
Oh wait. I think maybe, well, whatever. Continue looking, and we'll have a race. Found it.
So have I.
My name is Brandon Bulware, and Chairman, I'll go as quickly as I can. I'm a lifelong Missourian. I'm a business lawyer. I'm a Christian. I'm the son of a Methodist minister. I'm a husband. I'm the father of 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls, including a wonderful and beautiful transgender daughter, who today happens to be her birthday. And I chose to be here. She doesn't know that. She thinks I'm at work. One thing I often hear when transgender issues are discussed is, I don't get it. I don't understand. And I would expect some of you to have said that and feel the same way. I didn't get it either. For years, I didn't get it. For years, I would not let my daughter wear girl clothes. I did not let her play with girl toys. I forced my daughter to wear boy clothes and get short haircuts, play on boys' sports teams. Why did I do this? To protect my child. I did not want my daughter or her siblings to get teased. And truth be told, I did it to protect myself as well. I wanted to avoid those inevitable questions as to why my child did not look and act like a boy. My child was miserable. I cannot overstate that. She was absolutely miserable, especially at school. No confidence, no friends, no laughter. I honestly say this, I had a child who did not smile. We did that for years. We did that against the advice of teachers, therapists, and other experts. I remember the day everything changed for me. I'd gotten home from work, and my daughter and her brother were in the front lawn. And my daughter had sneaked on one of her older sister's play dresses. And they wanted to go across the street and play with the neighbor's kids. It was time for dinner. I said, come in. She asked, can she go across the street? I said, no. She asked me if she went inside and put on boy clothes, could she then go across the street and play? And it's then that it hit me that my daughter was equating being good with being someone else. I was teaching her to deny who she is. As a parent, the one thing we cannot do, the one thing, is silence our child's spirit. And so on that day, my wife and I stopped silencing our child's spirit. The moment we allowed my daughter to be who she is, to grow her hair, to wear the clothes she wanted to wear, she was a different child. And I mean, it was immediate. It was a total transformation. I now have a confident, a smiling, a happy daughter. She plays on a girls' volleyball team. She has friendships. She's a kid. I came here today as a parent to share my story. I need you to understand that this language, if it becomes law, will have real effects on real people. It will affect my daughter. It will mean she cannot play on the girls' volleyball team or dance squad or tennis team. I ask you, please don't take that away from my daughter or the countless others like her who are out there. Let them have their childhoods. Let them be who they are. I ask you to vote against this legislation.
That's quite a powerful speech. It's similar to the speech Debbie Jackson gave about her trans daughter a few years ago.
I call the Prime Minister.
And now I half expect Blair White to say, "Oh, he's brainwashed his kid into thinking they're trans." Because that's what she did to Debbie fucking Jackson. Remember?
Yeah, I know. Even though in that whole speech she talks about not knowing it and like the coldness that is required to just try to silence someone's spirit.
So, despite powerful speeches like that, the Republican Party think their strategy for winning is to be transphobic.
Yeah, the more transphobic, the more Republican.
Republican Party leaders are hoping to exploit attacks on trans students taking part in high school sports to grift themselves back into power, experts have suggested. Yeah, that's pretty obvious from Trump's CPAC speech, wasn't it? In the post.
Well, that and the sort of shit that Blair White and the white supremacists that she was having a conversation with.
Yeah, Lauren Witzke and John Doyle. Trump era Republicans are scrambling for ways to boost their poll numbers. And they think they found one turning trans inclusion in sports into a culture war and forgetting that trans youth are, human beings.
What? I was a human being before I transitioned? I couldn't tell because I ran away from my humanity as much as possible.
The party hopes to leverage transphobia to shore up support in the 2020 midterms elections, while blunting Joe Biden's efforts to expand trans rights. Politico reported. It comes amid a boom of Republican states launching anti-trans bills. Yeah, with the most common being ban on trans girls and women competing in certain sporting events. Such bills often rely on tired myths about trans. Yeah, we know this. According to American Civil Liberties Union, which is called for discriminatory, harmful, and unscientific. Well, the Republicans ignoring science? Jeez. Yeah.
Wait, what?
I mean, they didn't.
But they shout science all the time when talking about trans stuff. And
No. I mean, they didn't ignore the science on climate change, did they? Oh, wait, no, they did. In fact,
they shout it so much. What you mean, like, even though they shout science a bunch, they don't actually, care about science?
Oh, by the way, did you ever hear that when the COVID-19 pandemic hit the United States, Congress was in a bit of trouble because what had happened was that the Republicans had sacked all these scientific advisors.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd be more happy about it, but, there's 500,000 dead people because of it.
Politico spoke to Stephen Miller, a former White House aide, who advised Trump on a recent speech in which he took a pot shot against trans athletes. Miller explained that Republicans are using a cross-cutting issue to win the midterms. All right, so they're going to, basically whip up persecution against trans people to win an election. Oh, jeez. The Republicans, have the highest moral standings, don't they? Not.
Yeah, I mean, the thing long as you ignore
the
Bible.
You might get some votes out of this, but a lot of trans people will be injured because of it, if not die because of this. Okay, you cunts.
It's also a stepping stone. They always find
However, I actually don't think I don't think they're on a winner here because obviously there are places in the Midwest where we know that bigotry is rife because of Christianity, or shall we say ministers, the interpretation of ministers who have their own fucking bigoted insecurities, but whatever. Anyways, I actually don't think they're onto a winner because survey after survey after fucking survey shows that most people support trans equality.
Yeah.
Now, talking of talking about far right dipshits being transphobic. Yes, it was only a matter.
Oh, you are the sweetest person, Sophia, for bringing me this gift of her dumbass.
If it was only a matter of time before we had to react to a Caitlin Bennett video on this channel, and I'm going to be reacting to another one tomorrow. But this one everyone else has reacted to. This is her interviewing students about trans issues, and basically she got owned. She really did get owned in this video. Just watch. Oh. Helps if you turn the sound up.
Nah.
What do you think about starting an initiative on campus here at UK to be more inclusive to women who have penises, and we can put urinals in the women's restroom for them?
Sounds fantastic.
Oh. What about, let's take it one step close, more for inclusivity here on campus and put free tampons and pads in the men's restroom for men who have periods?
Sounds great.
Okay. You don't see anything wrong with those statements?
No.
What men do you know
like
with periods?
General use ones like in Willie T have pads. I use them pretty often. So.
What do you think about putting urinals in the women's restroom for women who have penises?
That's fine. If
I should explain to you. Caitlin Bennett tries to do these gotcha videos on college campuses. She basically asks loaded fucking questions to students to try and prove, if they're stupid or whatever. But more times than not, she gets fucking owned, and she's getting owned here.
If it makes them feel comfortable, I don't mind. Like I don't really care about it.
Are you willing to accept that some women do have penises?
Yeah.
We're here today at the University of Kentucky to see if college kids think we should put tampons and pads in the men's restroom for men who have periods and urinals in the women's restrooms for women who have ding-dongs. Restroom to be more inclusive to men who have periods. Here on campus.
I'm not going to answer the question because I don't want to offend anyone. But
what? You're not going to say your opinion out of fear of offending someone? You're a man! Come on! What do you think? Should we be more inclusive towards trans people by putting urinals in the women's restroom?
I mean, they got to do what they got to do, so I mean...
Because not all women have vaginas. Some of them have penises, right?
I mean, I don't know. I just mind my own business. I'm not that big into it. All right.
What do you think?
I mean,
should we put tampons in the men's restroom?
It would not bother me because, again, we do not pick who we become and who we are, so it's up to them.
Because men do have periods too, right?
Well, genetically, no. Biologically, no, but that middle area, because it is a spectrum.
What's a spectrum?
When you're born, you have an X and a Y chromosome. You can be in the middle, all this.
You either have XX or XY.
No, it's kind of in the middle. It's just...
No.
Actually, no, Caitlin, you're wrong because you're discounting intersex people.
Well, yeah, and also XX and XY don't... the basic shape doesn't determine... your body parts. It's most people have most genetic information to be any combination of male and female.
Literally, you either have XX or XY.
Okay, I'm just gonna...
What's your major?
Psychology.
And you don't know about chromosomes and male and female?
I do know about chromosomes and male and female. I'm just on my way somewhere. Okay. Instead of somebody.
All right, we'll put tampons in your bathroom. Should we put urinals in the women's restrooms here on campus to be more inclusive to women who stand up when they pee because they have penises?
Yeah, I think so.
Why?
I feel like everybody should have the right to identify themselves as who they are, and they should be included. And so if they identify as female, but they were born as a male. So I feel like if they identify as female, then they should have the right to use the female or the women's restroom, but don't have the ability to actually,
You got some big bucks buying $200 AirPods. You can donate to me at CaitlinBennett.org.
No, you can't. Don't.
You can go there.
Don't.
He's got $200. He can buy some merch or donate to my Patreon. Caitlin Bennett. Hello. Would you like to have tampons?
She fucking blocked me. Well, I mean, Liberty Hangout blocked me because I asked a question.
Oh,
literally blocked me.
How dare you ask a question?
I know, they're so fucking pissed. Admittedly, they were talking about the mysterious they causing problems, and I was like, who is that they that you're talking about? And then I got blocked. I got blocked by them for that, for asking who they were talking about when they said they.
So, I mean, she's a Holocaust denier. She's also ableist. She's racist. We know that. Yeah. She's a.
Well, it's a package deal.
Yeah. Yeah, she describes as well. I mean, I'd love to know what Aria's opinion of Caitlin Bennett is, because Caitlin Bennett tries to pass herself off as a libertarian. I mean, look, the gold and black, those are the libertarian colours, and also liberty.
It wouldn't surprise me if Aria, either if not realizes by now how fucking lame they are. I mean, they fucking block for like asking a simple goddamn question. I don't think they're purveyors of free speech, and they're kind of fucking assholes at the very least for that.
Yeah. All right.
In the men's restroom?
I don't see an issue with it. If it's
Me neither.
necessary.
Yeah, it's necessary. Yes. Should we put urinals in the women's restrooms here on campus to be more inclusive?
Right, just before he answers, right, I've only seen excerpts of this video, by the way, with other reaction videos. But that guy, he might not be, but if there's any guy in this video who looks like a young Republican, it's him.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just like in terms of types of fashion sense. So, I mean, just having any sort of college education decreases your chance of it unless you're going to business school. So,
Yeah. Greed is good.
Two women who have penises. They stand up when they pee.
I mean, if there's the money in the budget for it, sure.
Okay.
I was wrong. He seems all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what if there was money to put free tampons and pads in men's restrooms for men who have periods?
If there's budget, I don't see a problem.
Do you see a problem with me asking you about men having periods?
No, I mean, it's a college campus. There's a lot of ideas to share. I mean,
yeah.
What is a period?
I mean, what?
What's a period?
Biological function.
Of?
What do you... I'm confused. What do you mean?
Who has periods?
Oh, he's trolling her now.
People with the
People?
organs to do that.
Who has organs to do that?
Okay, it's a good
You're
question.
uncomfortable.
It's a good question, yes.
What if I gave you an option between men and women? Who has the organs to have a period?
That's a very good question. Yes. Yes. Thank you.
He needs a girlfriend to understand who has organs to know. If you were to walk into the women's restroom...
It's legit. You know what this is. This is like, I'm uncomfortable with being filmed and the fucking leading question. I'm gonna
trying to turn me into a transphobe like you. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, unless you have taken enough biology classes, which isn't everyone's major, you're not going to be able to easily answer that question. Not that they would accept your answer, even if you mentioned it, but yeah.
And you saw a woman with a penis there using a urinal. Would you be concerned, or would you accept it and be inclusive? What would you do?
It's none of my business.
It's none of your business that a man is in the women's restroom.
If they're in the women's restroom, then they identify as a woman.
Right. Caitlin, drum roll. Okay? I need to get a drum roll effect, actually. But, yeah, trans women are women. All right? End of. Right? So, going about saying, men, when you're referring to trans women, you're just proving yourself evermore to be a transphobic piece of shit.
Yeah.
Woman.
Oh. Who would have known men walking into... Okay, don't question anything about men walking into women's restrooms ever. They're just...
Do you know the best thing I think someone could do, actually, right? Because she'll, basically... But she has been chased off a few college campuses with her... And basically, she does have security with her. And they're basically all people who have been dishonorably discharged from the fucking, army, right?
Yeah.
The best thing for anyone could do, right, is actually troll her. When she goes around trying to interview people, is try to interview her. And basically, when she starts screaming, I'm being harassed, basically go, well, no, freedom of the press, bitch, That's what you'd scream. You scream when you get chased off fucking college campuses. I just think someone should counter-troll her. That's it.
Well, I mean, the other thing that would get her pissed real fast is if you take out your phone and start recording her. She's recording you, you're recording her. And, should be no issue with that.
There because they're women. They're not predators. No. Hello. Hello. Oh, thank you.
Huge fans. Huge fans.
Well, there had to be one, didn't there?
They treated you like crap at that Trump ceremony.
That's okay. I'm a strong girl.
Oh, by the way, she's often referred to as Gun Girl, right? Because she turned up to her graduation, I think it was Kent State University, with a fucking AR-15, right? But really, I should refer to her as Poop Girl, because supposedly at a Turning Point USA event, she was on stage and she crapped her pants. Or it was a college event. I can't remember one of the two. But, she likes shitting her pants. Anyways, enough of, obviously there's going to be one, maybe two.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? I mean, men having periods and men having a period, so.
Yeah, so what? Yeah.
I say yes. I say men go through hardships, you know what I'm saying?
Especially if they're having a period. That sounds pretty hard on them, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've never had one, but I'm sure there's a couple out there, have a little cramp, a little stomach ache.
Well, actually, technically, men can have periods. Trans men can have periods.
Well, yeah, trans men can have periods, but also, obviously, intersex men. Men who don't produce the hormone that stops the uterus and ovaries from getting created, those men usually get that found out when they start having the physical aspects of periods, every physical aspect of a period, because those men have uteruses and ovaries, so it's rare.
Something
but,
like that. Yeah.
It's more than that, right?
Yeah, but I mean that's just like.
What is a period?
It was like the like scientifically. Okay, well, in the most basic terms, dead eggs, and they excrete from in a man's case, from the penis.
Do men have eggs?
I'm gonna have to.
All right, he's not fully specced up on his biology.
Yeah, his knowledge of biology is not.
Yeah, but he's like
the best, but his heart's in a good place.
I guess to shed that uterine lining, right?
It's 2019.
It's 2019. Genetics can change.
Everything can change.
Penises turn into vaginas.
Yes. I mean, come on now. I mean, technically we all have both.
Should we put tampons and pads in the men's restroom for men who have periods?
Completely wrong with that.
I would say yes, because myriads are real.
Myriads? What is that?
A man period.
Do women have penises?
I don't know.
All right, well, okay, we don't know who has penises and vaginas.
I don't know, I don't care.
Okay, have a good day. Hope you figure it out. Here's a free lesson in natural sciences. Men don't have periods. Take it to the bank. Should we reinforce that and say that? I guess they don't teach that in physics. I'm not sure. That's a science professor. What do you think about putting tampons and pads?
I think they might be trans. This will be interesting.
In the men's restroom here on campus for men who have periods.
Yeah, absolutely. That's essential.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's more than people think.
What, men having periods?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By God. Did you tell them to seek medical help if men are having periods?
Well, trans men have periods.
Someone's brought that up.
Okay, explain that one to me.
Yeah, so people who have transitioned from female to male, obviously, they might still have periods, and You know, if they identify as male, you know, they have the right to go into the men's room. But if they're still having periods, they have the right to have, you know, the products they need.
Do you remember me? We had class together that one time.
We are freshmen.
We had class together that one time. Do you guys think we should be putting free pads and tampons in the men's restroom for men who have periods?
You know how they have those like things with condoms? You could just make one set of that and just put them in both bathrooms, and then that really defeats the purpose. It's like, and it'd probably be easier to mass produce as well, just like that.
Has anyone ever told you in the women's restroom for women who have penises?
That's fine.
Yeah.
If it makes them feel comfortable, I don't mind. Like I don't really care about it.
Are you willing to accept that some women do have penises?
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for like people. I just want people to feel comfortable. Like if they want to use the women's restroom, I have no problem with it.
Has anyone ever told you look like Brian Stelter?
No.
You do.
Sorry, I'm late for
You know, regular cis men, you know, don't necessarily have to have a urinal, per se. It could be nice.
You said regular cis men. Wouldn't that just be a regular man?
It would be a regular cis man.
What's the difference?
Cis just means that you identify as the gender that you were born as.
How should I approach people if I don't know what they are? Should I say, hello, sir, ma'am? Should I just guess?
There's a couple ways to go about it. I generally, if I'm not sure, I avoid words like sir or ma'am. If you're not sure, they is always a good pronoun to use.
Men don't have periods.
Cis men don't have periods.
Cis men don't have periods, but some men do.
Yes.
Well,
all right. Thank you for the lesson. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, some cis men have periods, like I said, because of the intersex thing. I mean, if it's, you know, still identifying as gender you were at birth, but still being a man and still having a period. So there are a small amount, but that's related to genetics and biology. I don't expect everyone to know that specific fact. It's just nitpick.
Good one.
You want to jump in? You guys can do it together.
I just know that if I don't say profanities, this probably won't get played, but Kentucky does not stand for sexism, Islamophobia, things like that.
Yeah, Kentucky doesn't. Who's standing for that type of stuff?
I know the people surrounding me at the University of Kentucky, and I know that this.
Do these people? She said the people at the University of Kentucky are. Are any of you guys?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you're trying. You probably won't play this because we're standing up to things like that, and that's not what Kentucky's
where
all
do you
about.
see around? Who are you standing up to?
I just wanted to put this message out there, but I have studying to do. I don't know about you, but I study.
You gotta study because there's no one on this campus who's doing. What's your major?
It's Spanish and art history.
Yes, it is.
Who are you with?
Oh, right. See, being sniffy about people doing art history and Spanish.
Yeah, well, I mean, they don't want, so fascists don't like modern art just at its core. They want things to be a specific way, and if things violate the you know, true way things are supposed to be, then it's an abhorrence according to them.
Liberty Hangout right here. We're the #1 YouTube channel on YouTube.
Oh, seriously? I'm gonna give you guys.
No, you're not #1. In fact, Caitlin, I thought you were leaving YouTube. You said a few months ago you were leaving YouTube, yet you're still posting videos on YouTube. You're doing a fucking Blair White. You know, Blair White was going to take a break from YouTube and then kept posting videos on YouTube.
Yeah, I can't remember who's the top person. It's an Indian YouTube channel, if I recall correctly.
Well,
I think PewDiePie's still down to second.
You guys follow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, #1, we have the most subscribers out of any channel.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Should we put tampons and pads in the men's restroom to be more inclusive to men who have periods?
I mean, sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Wouldn't hurt anything.
This is like the most common
I
answer.
don't know. I mean, Jesus.
urinals and women's
Oh, no, the
restrooms
last
for
thing
women
you
who
want
have
is someone
penises and they just want to stand and pee.
I think people just making too big of a deal about it. I don't care.
Naughty words. Okay, so we should or shouldn't?
I mean, I don't really care.
Okay. What about tampons and pads in men's restroom for men who have periods?
If you're really getting that worked up about it, why does it matter? Like, I don't care. It's just sitting there. I'm not going to take it.
Okay, so we should provide men with tampons.
I mean, if a dude wants a tampon for some reason, he can have a tampon. That's not my business.
What would he use it for?
I don't know. That's his problem.
What would he use a pad for?
His problem.
Do you think they should seek medical advice if they're having bleeding?
I mean, if they want to, I don't really care. Why should I care?
Supposedly, this guy's a libertarian. Someone told me.
Yeah, I mean, here's the
He's
thing.
a proper libertarian, unlike you,
Yeah.
Caitlin.
The proper libertarians are actually like, why should I give a fuck?
Yeah.
Care.
I don't know, I care about people. If they're bleeding out of their penis, I would want to...
I care about people's personal rights. They can do whatever they want. It's none of my business.
How are you? High five. Cool. What would you do if you walked into a restroom here on campus and there was a basket of free tampons, penises, and we can put urinals in the women's restroom for them?
Sounds fantastic.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. What about, let's take it one step close, more for inclusivity here on campus and put free tampons and pads in the men's restroom for men who have periods.
Sounds great.
Okay. You don't see anything wrong with those statements?
No.
What men do you know with periods?
General use ones like in Willie T have pads. I use them pretty often. So.
I use them pretty often. So.
The thing with Caitlin Bennett, she keeps putting these fucking videos out where she just keeps getting owned and owned and owned and owned. Fuck knows how.
Well, yeah, I mean, she is essentially, so her reasoning is these people have a different opinion than me about this subject. They're the freaks. And, look at how ridiculous they are for thinking about things and formulating their opinion with some thought. They're the freaks. It's the mentality. Her and Liberty hang out. Well, they see us as freaks and predators, and they see anyone who has any sense of a different opinion than them as freaks and predators, and yeah, they're not free speech advocates.
Yeah. Well, as I said, she poses as a libertarian, but she's not. I mean, she supported Trump. In fact, someone said that she's in favour of there being a monarchy in the United States. So, in other words, a despotic regime.
Oh, you mean a fascist?
Yeah.
Oh, someone who's against the whole George Washington thing. So fascists don't actually support the good things about presidents. They don't care about the fact that George Washington opposed monarchy. George Washington, the person we're supposed to admire the most in America, him and fucking Lincoln or whatever, they would have opposed every element of this fascism, but yeah, Liberty hang out. I mean, they're fascists.
Yeah.
They're literal fascists who are against democracy.
Yeah, she's taken up
against the fucking United States Constitution, against the principles on which our nation was founded.
Right, well, that brings to a close another edition of Botha Rants. Thank you for joining us. If you want to follow me on social media, my links are down below, and so are OZMA'S. Please do give her a follow on Twitter. Please do check out her YouTube channels. She's got a couple.
The fluid voice is what I put the most care into. I'll put more care into the other channel once I sort out my life and housing and stuff.
anyways, I will be back tomorrow, hopefully. Now, I'm got it's a proviso. I've got to record something else tomorrow with a friend. We're going to do that later in the evening, so I should have time in the early evening to do a stream. But I don't know yet how I feel. I've also got to go out at some point in the next few days because my self-shielding is now over for me because it's 3 weeks since I had my vaccine. Yeah, and I do need to drop off something at somewhere. So, anyways, so if you like this video, please give it a like. If you got any feedback, please do give a comment below. Help spread the word by sharing this video, please.
Share it to your friends. Show it to your friends. Let them support Sophia's lovely voice and intelligent comments.
Thank you. And sorry. And the most important thing you can do for me right now is subscribe. And thank you to all the people who have subscribed. I've had a little bit of a bounce upwards with subscribers since I was on Kevin Logan's stream last Thursday. So thank you to all the new people who are subscribed. Anyways, in the meantime, until I'm back again, please take care of yourselves, stay safe, and peace out.
Bye.